ArizonaSports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Guesses last week.
We'll do our handicap with Scott Spreitzer, and we got Mark May all joining us. Oh, don't forget about Kevin Rowe for over/under for your chance to win $25.
So if you I'm sorry. So if you listened last week, it's the exact same show. So if you decide
same show,
Rock, to Manuch's point, we're talking about the divisional round.
Yes,
and then we're talking about the national championship.
Yes,
closer than what we did before with Mark May,
but still same guess. Talking about
but same guess.
It's not like you had to do anything. You just
we have Scott Spreitzer.
Yeah, Spreitzer's on this week.
Well, the last week because of the fires. Yes. That's the only difference. Okay. Mark May, you left early. Kevin Rowe, Eric Moses, we already talked to him. Yeah. I don't know what else you can tell us.
We're going to put a wrap on the national title, Rock, and then we're going to.
Why would we put a wrap on it if the game's not until Monday?
Because I would say because he's not going to be available on Monday, and we're going to get that thing. But yeah, the same guest, but different topic, different subjects. Still a guest, Rock. If you're feeling it right there.
Just laziness.
Laziness.
Just, you
good to go over there?
Not trying to get, somebody different, just trying to mix it up a little bit. Now that we're on the 4-letter network, thought maybe you'd step up your game.
Some damn good guests this afternoon. We got Salisbury. We got Mark May. Got Scott Spreitzer going to handicap all these games for us this afternoon. So for you, what do you call them? Degenerates that are out there, get a chance to break it all down.
So last night, the Phoenix Suns were up by 20+, and then decided to let Washington get back into it. And they only win by 7, 130 to 123 over a really bad Washington Wizards team, a team that's only won 6 games all season long. I'm sitting there watching this game. First, I'm listening to it. I'm listening to Bloom, and I'm like, all right, here it is. It's a blowout. They're up by 20, up by 22. I'm like, all right, switch to channel. I'm like, all right, whatever. Get to my refreshment stand and start the fourth quarter, and I watch with a bunch of Suns fans, and we're going back and forth, and we're like, WTF, they're going to lose this freaking game. I mean, it was like it got so close there. If it wasn't for Book and that 3 from the corner after Washington went on this incredible run, it could have easily gone down the other way, and we would be talking about a Suns team that just blew it with the Washington Wizards.
Up by 21 with 6 minutes to go in that game last night. 6 minutes to go in that game. The Suns got careless, turnovers, no defense. You saw offensive reboundings by the Wizards. Next thing you know, they're within 3 with 45 seconds to go. And to your point, Book hits that 3-point shot with 45 seconds to go to put them up, and that pretty much closed the game out. But I agree. That should never happen. They should have beat them by 25, 30, whatever.
Should have beat them by the 24 they were up by.
And allow them to get back in the game because of the carelessness. And I don't understand that. And Mike Budenholzer's comments after the game, well, we won it. It's on the road. My ass, Mike. You should have blown them out the door because you had your starters in there. But again, the turnovers in the first half, they got them back in the game around, getting close to halftime. That's the problem that's really concerning for this Suns team. Now, they did a better job. They got, 10 offensive rebounds. Then they cut it down. But they also got that being the Wizards 12.
How many turnovers do they have? That's what I want to know.
Well, the Suns had 15 turnovers.
Yeah.
But the Suns, on the other side, got 24 second chance points in the game. Can you imagine if they don't get the offensive rebounds, get those 24 second chance points in that game? Imagine the Wizards beating them there. So, I don't know. There's just a lot of carelessness. You saw KD toward the end of the first half throw the ball away a couple times. You saw Grayson Allen lose it a couple times. I don't understand the constant turnover barrage. At least it seemed that they kind of took care of the offensive rebounding to a point in reference to out rebounding the Wizards in last night's game.
So they improved to 1-1 on this 5-game road trip. They got Detroit next. Rookie Ryan Dunn, he is starting to really look good. 11 boards, 18 points. He had a hell of a game. Grayson Allen does what Grayson Allen does. 21 points. He was on a run there for a while. It's good to see Book, third consecutive 30-plus game. But again, we're going to beat this thing up all day. I mean, you just can't lose, or you can't have a 24-point deficit and then get down to a 3 late in the fourth quarter. You just can't do that.
Well, we talk about them not being able to close out, and every one of the players. I watched the news last night. Ryan Dunson, look, we got to put our foot on their throat and crush them. We'll do it. And I'll say this about Ryan Dunn. The young man is really starting to impress me as far as his game rebounding and shooting the basketball, which has really improved this entire year. But again, yeah, that just can't happen. Grayson Allen had a big night. Bounce to the bench. Basically after that, you look at 20 points aside from Allen's 21 points. That's pretty much it. But I think this team can't get comfortable. They're not good enough to get comfortable in a game. I don't care who it is. You saw them lose to Charlotte on the road at Charlotte. You almost saw them lose to Washington in last night's game. They get careless with the ball against Detroit and then against Cleveland and then against Brooklyn. Quite frankly, especially at the end of the game, you're going to see some losses where you really hope to see this team continue to win. They won now 5 out of the last 7, 4 out of the last 5, but the true litmus test will come up Saturday against Detroit and then Monday against this Cleveland Cavaliers team.
Some other basketball, Arizona State, they'll visit Cincinnati. They aim to avoid their 4th loss in a row as they visit the Bearcats in Cincinnati. They're coming off the 95-89 loss to UCF on Tuesday. They're now 1-4 in Big 12 play, 10-6 overall. Tomorrow's game will tip off at noon. Down in Tucson, the Cats, they're going for their 8th straight win as they'll be at Texas Tech in Lubbock. They just beat number 24 Baylor 81-70 at home on Tuesday night. They're undefeated in the Big 12 at 5-0 and 11-5 overall. That game is also tomorrow at noon. And some other action. Grand Canyon, they crushed Albany Christian the other night, 88-58. And then Northern Arizona took down Sac State 77-53. Tomorrow, Grand Canyon hosts Tarleton State, and Northern Arizona will welcome Portland State. So got a lot of college basketball this weekend, not to mention, of course, all the NFL action. We'll get into a lot of that throughout the afternoon. Do remind you, on Monday, we will be at DraftKings at TPC Scottsdale, just up the street where we're at today here at Wright Toyota for the national championship. We'll be broadcasting there from 1 to 4. So if you look for a place to watch the game and be able to gamble at the same time throughout the game, then DraftKings will be a great place for you to hang out. We'll have a couple contests going on during our show on Monday from 1 to 4, so you'll have an opportunity to win some gift cards that you can use at DraftKings. So pretty excited to be there. It's a great place. We've been there before, and it's just kind of a little warm-up because we'll be there for the WM Open as well, Monday and Tuesday. And we're teaming up with Golf Bet and a couple other people from DraftKings. So we're really excited about our new partnership with DraftKings at TPC Scottsdale. I know a lot of people know it's there, but you haven't been there. And I encourage you to at least check it out. The food's really good. The atmosphere is even better. And that patio is just awesome. I think, Jack, you'd agree. It's just a really cool place to watch sports and gamble.
I was going to say, too, we go to a lot of great places. I'm really looking forward to going there on Monday. It's just the vibes of DraftKings, it being a big-time game, the national championship, the different crowd you're going to see there, the Ohio State fans, Notre Dame fans. It's going to be fun.
How large do you think that TV is on that back patio? 125 inches, 160 inches that's up against that east wall, and you kind of wrap around and get all those other TVs there. I don't think I've seen, aside going to a movie theater, anything at a facility that large aside to going to a movie theater. It's got to be 150 inches, what have you. But we just hope that I hope it's a good game. I really do. I hope it's a good game. I hope it's not a blowout like we've seen the last few years. And hearing a lot about Notre Dame defense. Can they stop this high potent Ohio State offense? Can this Ohio State defense stop Riley Leonard as far as what he can do with his feet as a quarterback? And the more you look at it, there was an 8-point spread currently, or 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah, 8.5. I just hope we see something where, a game comes down to a last-second field goal, something like that. That keeps the interest for those folks watching this national title game.
I want to let everybody know we have one more week for our Twin Peaks Fantastic Tailgating Sweepstakes. It's sponsored by Blue Moon and Coors Light. All you have to do is text Peaks to 59925. You've had an opportunity all football season to do it. The grand prize is a Traeger grill, a Blackstone griddle, a pizza oven, a cornhole set, a portable beer pong table, and much, 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 much more. No purchase necessary. Just text Peaks to 59925. Standard message and data rates apply. And watch all the action at any of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks locations. So next week will be the last week to do this. Hopefully many of you have got in. And all that stuff I mentioned, one person will get all that.
All the goodies.
I can't wait to get it out of my garage. So it's all in boxes, all ready to go. Our State 48 Roofing, it's your call question of the day. What playoff game would you choose if you could only watch one? Is it the Texans at Chiefs, Commanders at Lions, Rams at Eagles, or Ravens at Bills? So go vote on our Twitter page at Roc and Manuch. We'll have the sounds of the night from last night's Suns game, and then Sean Salisbury will join us here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. No Jimmy B today here on ESPN 620.
The guys are live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the price. Wright Toyota, located at 70
Mics are hot.
Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
Got a brand new set here at Wright Toyota. Pretty excited about it. ESPN 620 up on our board underneath our logo here at Wright Toyota. Go check it out. It's pretty cool stuff. And if you are in the market for new or pre-owned vehicle, not just Toyotas, come on out to Wright Toyota just across the street from the 16th hole at the WM Open. All right, let's get to our sounds of the night. They have to do with the Phoenix Suns. We'll start early on in the game. Here's Plumlee with his two-handed dunk, which got the score 18-3. And at that point, you're like, oh, they're going to cruise.
Booker, he drives on Kuzma all the way to the rim, runs one up with the left hand. No, but Plumlee there to jam it home with both hands, and the Suns have their biggest lead, 18-3.
So at that point, you're like, okay, this is what you expected.
Sure.
They're going to go into Washington. They're going to be a team that only has 6 wins. They're going to roll. And it still was that point when we move on. And, Ryan Dunn, the rookie, had yet another impressive game. This is his first double-double. Here is a layup that made the score 91-70.
Dunn drives on Koulibaly, gets to the dotted line, puts up a shot that doesn't go, but he follows his own miss and banks it home. And there's his first career double-double, TK. 16 points, 10 rebounds for Ryan Dunn.
Bloomer already said that, Bloomer. You didn't have to, reiterate.
Reiterate it, Rock.
But this was, I think, the key shot of the game. The game was going down to the point where Washington could have easily got a lead here, but thank goodness that Tyus Jones was the reason why they brought him in, the point guard, got it to Booker, big three from the corner, which basically put the game to bed and made the score 123-117. Here's the last one from
7-2. Around the three from Durant. Right corner, it's Booker for three. Yes, sir. Wow. Devin Booker with a big-time shot to put the Suns up 6. 45 seconds left in the timeout for the Wizards.
Appreciate 98.7 Phoenix Suns for the sound there from last night.
You look at the end of the third quarter, they're by 21, 104-83 at the end of the third quarter. They're up by 21 with 6.5 minutes to go. And you see and you go, okay, how is this team getting back in the game? 3-point shots, turnovers, easy buckets, no contention whatsoever on some of the shots. To go out there, and next thing you look up and you're seeing the ball going, wait a second, how's this team within 3? And you look at Tyus Jones coming around, getting the ball, moving the ball, and finding Book wide open in that corner to go ahead and hit that 3 shot. Could you only imagine what the rhetoric would have been this morning or today if the Wizards, down by 21, 6.5 to go, came back and beat the Suns? And here you are, trying to wait for your new center to come in and trying to figure out what your rotation, what your lineup is. By the way, Bradley Beal did not play. You saw Grayson pick up the slack with the 21 points. Some more minutes from this Suns team as well, especially Book almost dang near 40 minutes. But that rhetoric just doesn't sit well. It doesn't sit well at all if they got back in the game on top of it.
So Kenny Dillingham's contract extension was approved yesterday by the Arizona Board of Regents, and it went public. It's up on ArizonaSports.com right now, and just a snapshot of what's there. You can check it out for yourself there at ArizonaSports.com. Kevin and Zimmerman put the nice piece there, but his salary, that being Kenny Dillingham, not Zimmerman's, Dillingham's salary will increase from $4.1 million to $5.8 million, which amount that is expected to be the top third in the Big 12, which is huge. But what's interesting about this is this contract extension, the details are out. They're black and white. And it's pretty interesting because, as I mentioned, it's a salary from 4.1 to 5.8 with a $100,000 increase each January. But then there's some triggers. There's some interesting raises and trigger events that occur. 6 regular season wins and an invitation to a bowl gets them a 1-year extension.
Great.
7 wins gets him $100,000 that will immediately succeed his contract year's annual salary and each contract year's annual salary thereafter during the term. $200,000, what I just said, for 8, $250,000 to 9, $350,000 to 10, and $450,000 if he gets 11 regular season wins. Also, the contract also has been altered to give him incentives for a college football playoff appearance. And right now, he'll get 50 G's for a non-college football appearance, a bowl, 1 month of annual salary for a non-CFP bowl game win. He'll get $2 million to make the playoff. He'll get $2.5 million with a quarterfinal win. He'll get $3 million if he gets a semifinal win. He'll get $4 million if he gets a championship, and then $1 million signing bonus upon approval of this amended contract. And then I could go on and on. There's just all these different type of deals, private jet hours for recruiting trips in January and February, increased buyout terms. So, I mean, there's a buyout right now. If somebody wanted to take him away, $5 million is the buyout before the end of this year. Then it drops $1 million each year through 2028. So there's additional bonus pools that will basically give money to his staff. So based on 9 or more wins, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, a pool of money that could be distributed to his coaching staff upon success and how well they do. So it's pretty interesting that here it is. It's black and white. I don't know if I would want everybody to know what I make or how I'm bonuses I get or what have you. But for Kenny, it's out there, and he gets all these wins and he's buying.
Well, it's a public school, so it's public information. So if anybody wanted to dive into it,
I get that.
They get it.
Yeah,
they can do it. But I think it's good that Grammer's seen that they say, hey, look, this is the motivation behind our head coach, and if he'd have made it to the final this year, you hit all those benchmarks. He might have been close to $15 million. When you round it all up or kind of move it all up the way it is. But rightfully so. I think what the main strategy for that is to say, hey, look, ASU Sun Devil fans, we're going to pay for the success of Kenny Dillingham staying here, so everybody doesn't have, or I should say, so if somebody's going to try to poach one Kenny Dillingham, he'd have to think long and hard for somebody to have to step up and give him a Godfather offer versus what he's getting right now. And I think it's the one thing there is paying the assistants the bonuses, upping their ante to keep the good assistants, your coordinators, your special team guys, the Charlie Regals of the world, Jason Mons of the world, all those guys, so you keep everything intact, so you have a continuity and a chemistry with the players and the assistant coaches.
Hey, the Arizona Cardinals are in news today. Thanks to the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams, wow, they took a full page out in the Arizona Republic today to thank the Arizona Cardinal owners, the staff, our local community after they had to play their first playoff game on Monday there at State Farm Stadium because of the wildfires. What a class act for the LA Rams to do that. It said, the ad it read in part, in times of adversity, true integrity is shown. Arizona, you were there for us when we needed it most. We are grateful to the Bidwell family, the entire Arizona Cardinals staff, and the local community who took us in without hesitation and with gracious hospitality. Okay, touche to the Rams.
Good for them. I mean, what a great gesture.
Cardinals.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. That Michael Bidwell and his team and the folks over at the stadium literally scrambled. When you look at the breakdown of what they had to do to scramble with the food and the field and preparations and getting everything coordinated, the 2 planes going over there to take the family, the coaches, the pets, whomever, whatever, and then to make them feel as comfortable as possible to do that. So good job. Nice accolades for the Cardinals by the LA Rams. Nice job as far as that's concerned.
Hey, it's a Free Food Friday. You'll have an opportunity here at the end of this hour to win yourself a large one-item pizza and a pound of wings from our friends over at Arena Sports Grill on 62nd Street in Bell. So if you are in this particular area, or even if you're not, you'll have an opportunity to win that coming up in about 20 minutes. Staying with the National Football League on a national level, news today from the commish that it looks as though an 18 game will happen. That will be logical, and it's the next step. So he said by adding an 18th game to the regular season schedule is the next step for the league. And if they were going to make that move, they just need to get approval from the players. And I think that'll probably happen. It would then reduce the preseason to just 2 games, which I think most of us would love because we think it's a waste of time anyway. But we'll see. I mean, you got Roger Goodell, and he's in his 19th year as the commissioner. Yeah. And, he went from 16-4. Now it's 17-3 when I'm talking preseason. Now I'll go 18-2. Seems like that's the logical way to go, right?
And I think that what the players will see is that the revenue share for those games will increase to see that, put that back into the pool and making that. And the players, their contract's a contract. It just gets prorated out over the 18 games. What they're interested in, what the Players Association will be interested in, is just making sure that revenue share, make sure that gets created, that's thrown back into that pool for the 18th game.
Hey, we're going to catch up with Sean Salisbury. We like to call it unfiltered, uncensored segment for us here on Fridays. We hope to catch up with him here in about 5 minutes. But Jax, are you ready? You ready to go? Yes, you ready to go? Just say you're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Okay, so all right, here's Jax with the latest local 620 sports updates.
Now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's bottom of the hour ESPN 620 Sports Update, sponsored by the big game at Weekapaw Casino Resort on Sunday, February 9th. I'm Jackson Groff. The Phoenix Suns weathered a late rally from the Washington Wizards last night, winning 130 to 123, and are now back to 500 with a record of 20-20. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant combined for 60 points on 45% shooting from the field, including Booker's 13 of 15 free throws. The Suns will look to secure another road win tomorrow at 2 p.m. against the Eastern Conference's 9th-ranked Detroit Pistons. Lock in your plans to join us for the big game on February 9th at Weekapaw Casino Resort. Win cash with our $25 squares games, $100 prop bets, and the kickoff challenge. The best part, it's all free. We hope to see you there. Weekapaw Casino Resort, the big game, February 9th. See you then.
Sun Devil men's and women's basketball thrive off the energy Sun Devil fans bring to the home floor at Desert Financial Arena. Gonzaga Miller drives, shoots it up, scores, and ties the game with 1.9 seconds left to go. Catch Sun Devil men's and women's basketball on Saturday, January 25th for a college hoops doubleheader. The ASU men face second-ranked Iowa State at noon, while the women take on Cincinnati at 4 p.m. Get your tickets today at sundeviltickets.com.
Hey, Arizona, it's Mike Wilbon. I've been around sports professionally and personally for a long, long time. And whether you're on a court, in the gym, or just navigating a tough day, you need to stay hydrated. That's where Cocoa 5 comes in. Cocoa 5 isn't your average sports drink, packed with the electrolytes your body craves, but without the artificial junk you don't need. Available at your favorite stores, Cocoa 5, active hydration. Stay hydrated, Arizona.
Mark your calendars for Sunday, February 9th at Weekapaw Casino Resort. This year, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B are giving away cash while you watch the big game. Win big with our $25 squares game every
Carl, let me know when you get him.
$100 prop bet.
He is on.
B on ESPN 620.
I'm just curious why we pulled that 29-year-old making his second start. Was this, Sean, was your second start something big? Did you throw 5 touchdowns and won a big game? What was so significant about your second start?
I have no idea. I think it was
me
Vern
neither.
Lundquist's voice that you guys wanted to hear.
Okay,
You
that
guys
could
got
be.
me?
Yeah, that makes you legit, right? We got
maybe
Vern Lundquist.
So I don't know what and I love Vern. Vern was one of those guys when you do your game. He always called you by your name during pregame and just the ultimate gentleman. My first start, I don't even know who my second start was against. I mean, over my career, I really don't in number. My first start was in Anaheim, ironically, when I was playing with the Vikings, with the Rams. That's the Jim Everett teams. And how about that? I get my first start, and it's an hour from my hometown, which was awesome. And we went in there, I think I was 23-35 or something, and we beat the Rams in Anaheim, and all family and friends were there. So my first start was memorable, and a bunch more. But I don't even know who I started the second game with. So I don't know. I think it's more Vern Lundquist's voice than my right arm, to be honest with you.
It's interesting you bring that up about the Rams. Today, on this day back in '95, is the day the Rams announced they were leaving your town, Southern California, after 49 years and moving to St. Louis. It's hard to believe that even happened and that St. Louis couldn't keep them there.
No, and a great sports town, as we know, one of the great baseball towns and hockey towns there is, especially baseball. And then to go there and, win Super Bowls and have the greatest show on turf. And I think back to those times, and I can't believe how fast time flies. Mm-hmm. But the year Trent Green, the year they won the Super Bowl and Kurt Warner got the job. I don't think I've ever shared this. I'll make it quick, but I was there doing a feature for ESPN. I think it was on Oz Hakeem and Ricky Prohl and Ike Bruce and Torrey Holt for Sunday Countdown. So I was at the preseason game in a coat and tie doing it for ESPN and SportsCenter and all that. Well, in that game, the Chargers were playing the Rams, and Rodney Harrison, remember it was a preseason game. And during the preseason, Trent Green was like 28-32, and everybody talked about Super Bowl possibilities. And then Trent Green went down in that game. If you remember, Rodney Harrison had sacked him in the pocket. And it was in the St. Louis press box, it was dead silent. People were like, oh my gosh, it ruins our season. And the next day, that was when Dick Vermeil said, we'll rally around this guy, Kurt Warner. I called Mike Martz about 2 days later from ESPN and say, Mike, what are you guys going to do now? Because I can remember how, oh my gosh, we got this team. We don't have a quarterback. Mike told me, he goes, Sean, I don't know. We got this guy, he said, this guy, Kurt Warner. He said, he's pretty good, but we don't know much about him. But we're going to see, and we'll see about halftime. Well, halftime went the next game. He said, but I don't know what we're going to get. We'll see. And then a couple weeks later, I called Mike. He said, I think we got something. And lo and behold, the MVP of the league, Super Bowl champion, whatever it was, they went on, and the story of Kurt Warner goes on to the Hall of Fame. But I'll never forget that. And then losing those Cardinals, the St. Louis Rams back, obviously coming back to L.A., but I'll never forget that. But great sports town, and being a part of that moment was a bummer for Trent Green, but that was Kurt Warner's coming out party was that year.
And Sean, just the ramifications of this team and let's do it for the city with the fires there in Southern California. And I'm sure you've got friends, just the devastation we're seeing there over in Southern California. For this team to keep their focus and rally, not get worn out or worn down, and to win that game against the Vikings was pretty phenomenal. I don't think a lot of people understand the emotions that go into a football game to rally around a subject, a town, or what have you. Do you feel they can keep those emotions and continue to carry that through going into Philadelphia?
Yeah, and eventually it's going to come down where emotions, you still got to execute. And
right.
Manuch, you and Roc both know this. I mean, it's like anything. I'm a believer that motivation is temporary and discipline's permanent. So the motivation you have for whatever reason in any time, you still, when somebody punches you in the face, you got to respond to execution. Do I think they're capable? I do. I think they're dangerous, and I know they can throw it and move it. But you are so right. It's not even the physical of distraction of, okay, we were displaced, in the situation here, what's going on around us. We got to compartmentalize and stay focused. We have a job to do. And then happen to go to Arizona, and now they're going on the road across the country. And now it's awful, and it sucks for the reason this motivation's there, right? You're carrying the emotion. We all know somebody who knows somebody who's either around that or a part of it, not far from our campus when I was at USC. So friends that still live there, it's horrendous. We see it every day. But there is something, we've seen it with Hurricane. We saw it with Drew Brees' team in New Orleans. You don't like the reason there's something extra, but you do have to feed off it because it's constantly in your face in the media, and lives were lost and changed. So you do got to compartmentalize. It also adds perspective that this football game, which takes pressure off yourself, where you say, this is a football game. You go out and play your hardest. If you lose it, you're going back home to help people get their lives back and rebuild their homes. If you win it, the motivation. It's the emotional drainage that gives you. It's not the physical. This is their normal schedule. You play every week and you go. But when it'll really hit them is when the season's over, whether that's post Super Bowl or not. And if they get to that far and win it, what a journey and joy it would be for them. We've seen it here in Houston with the Hurricane. We've seen it in New Orleans, and now with this. So it's a bummer the way they had to do it. But when it's all over, then the physical and emotional draining will get them. But that's what it is. And athletes, Denny Green used to always say to us, it doesn't matter if the team bus is late. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if we don't get there on time to the city. It doesn't matter if you don't sleep. We still got to be able to put distractions, and this is a monster life-changing distraction, aside and focus on those 60 minutes in the preparation of football. And I think McVay and the Rams will do it because they've got some good veterans on the team. So, but the emotion will hit them when all of it's over, whether it ends this week or ends, post. We'll see.
Sean Salisbury, Roc and Manuch here on ESPN 620. All right, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Ohio State has looked dominant. 3 postseason opponents. They're beating them by an average of 20 points. You got Notre Dame there. Everyone's talking about them now. As you see this game, or as you get ready for this game, how do you see this unfolding on Monday?
At the beginning of the year, I had Ohio State in this game. Manuch, I did. Now, as the playoffs went on, I picked Texas. They're here last week, and Ohio State took care of that. But at the beginning of the season, and then all that went on, I'm like, man, was it the right one? Losing to Michigan. But it's amazing how quick you can turn around. This is the most talented, gifted team in the country. And it's finally starting to look like we thought it would over the summer. Now, I know Ryan, think about this. This guy wins Ryan Day all the time, and because of the Michigan game or because of losing to somebody else, people talk about firing him, and all he does is win like 11 games.
2 minutes.
Now, this looks like a team that's like an Urban Meyer team. They're physical. They run like hell. They're sideline to sideline. They're perimeter people, and their running game is exceptional, always is. And now it seems like they're hitting, and Chip Kelly's in rhythm, and Will Howard's responding. So I think Notre Dame would have to play their best game of the year, and Notre Dame is playing lights-out football. This is the fastest Notre Dame team that I can remember in 30 years. They always were plotters. Now their speed is SEC speed. They're not just plotters with high grass. They can run. So I think it's going to be a hell of a football game. But I think when all is said and done, go back and forth. Coaching, Freeman's great. Ryan Day's had a hell of a run. And I'm sure he's got a middle finger for everybody if he does win an national title. But they're in position, and they learned valuable. They were obliterated after the Michigan loss. They've responded. A lot of teams would have gone into the tank, but they've not only responded, they have dominated this postseason. They're playing right at the right time.
1 minute.
But I think it's going to be pretty close. But I think the most gifted team in America wins. But if Notre Dame wins, there's not a soul that should be shocked because they're well coached. Give me Ohio State in a close one. And defense is going to be flying around. Somebody's going to make a couple extra plays on Ohio State.
Running game of Notre Dame in that second half against Penn State. But is Riley Leonard going to be the factor for this Notre Dame offense?
I can tell you this, Manuch, they're going to have to throw it better than they have to beat Ohio State. He's 80 yards here. The guy can throw, but his feet are great. Will Howard's kind of a unorthodox runner, but he's used to it because when he was at Colin Klein and that group at Kansas State, he was really good on RPO, so he understands how to get skinny and holes for a big guy. But his accuracy last week was phenomenal. So it does. Listen, we know this. It's going to come down to, can you score touchdowns in the red zone? Can you get a few stops back?
Here's the 40. Good to rep whenever.
In the turnover battle, and who's going to be most physical on defense, as it always is in big games. Finesse teams don't win national championships or Super Bowls. They don't. There's a sense of physicality on all these teams, and it's going to come down to which one of these quarterbacks makes 3 or 4 plays more than the other guy, whether it's throwing or with their legs. But you're going to have to be two-dimensional. Riley Leonard can't throw for 75 yards unless Notre Dame rushes for 350, which I don't see happening against Ohio State. He's going to have to be better throwing the football, because if you make them one-dimensional and you're kicking field goals and they're scoring touchdowns, that could be a problem. They're going to have to throw it better, and I think Ohio State knows that, but I think Notre Dame does too. But defensively, if they can get a few turnovers and stops and short fields, they'll be in it, man. I think both these teams, they've earned the right to be here. I know through the playoff, but I don't care how it's seeded. They've been playing better than anybody on both sides of the ball. Both teams have.
Sean, last week you teased us on some news. We close a week away.
Yeah, that deal will be signed. Was supposed to be signed late yesterday afternoon. Hopefully it'll be signed by the end of the weekend. So next week on Friday, I should have it signed, sealed, and delivered and ready to go, buddy.
Ready to go, buddy. All right, have a good weekend, man. Thanks for the time.
Appreciate you guys, man. Enjoy. Thank you.
You got Sean Salisbury joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Sean Salisbury, unfiltered, uncensored. Appreciate him taking some time today. He's brought to you by All City Towing. They are hiring in 2025. All types of jobs, dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, customer service personnel. They got great benefits. They got a healthy 401k employer match, as well as employer-paid life insurance. How about a monthly fuel allowance? So if you're ready to take your career to the next level, visit them online at allcitytowing.com. That's All City Towing, where your future is on the move. Well, coming up, it's hard to believe that the NFL wildcard viewership is down almost 10%. We're going to talk about that. But first, we're going to give you a chance to win some free food. Who doesn't like free food on a Friday? A large one-item pizza and a pound of wings from Marina Sports Grill. We'll tell you how you can win that next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B here on ESPN 620.
Right Toyota.
Mics are hot.
Order right on the price. Wright Toyota, located at 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
All right, it's a Free Food Friday. And right now, we'll take the sixth caller at 602-230-0620. That's 602-230-0620. And why not? How does, a large one-item pizza and a pound of wings, thanks to Arena Sports Grill. By the way, Arena Sports Grill is a Nebraska bar. So if you're a Nebraska fan. And then they also own Upper Crust. And Upper Crust is a Buckeye bar. So if you're looking for a place to watch the Buckeyes on Monday at 5:30, Upper Crust, which is located Cave Creek in the 101, right next to the Costco. So Upper Crust Pizza, great place. Used to be a native New York.
That's right.
Many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But they too have great pizza. And I think next week or the week after, they'll be our partner on Free Food Friday. So there you have it. So Free Food Friday, get in sixth caller at 602-230-0620. As we talk about this national championship, ESPN is going to utilize. Let me see if you guys can figure this out.
Okay.
Fill in the blank.
All right.
ESPN will utilize blank different cameras for their coverage of the national championship on Monday. How many cameras do you think they'll have?
I'm going to say
These cameras are probably about 250,000 apiece.
Oh yeah, I'm going to say they're going to have at least 50 cameras.
Okay.
At that game, all over.
I'm going to say 100.
100. Connor, you want to play, or are you on the phone? He's on the phone.
Yeah.
115. Jackson, you're our winner today.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of cameras.
Isn't that? I mean, it's like, geez.
Well, you got to think, too, they put them on the refs. They put them on the pylons.
Yeah.
They put them on the third down marks.
Yeah.
They probably put them in the field goal posts. They put them everywhere.
Yeah. And, I think, and if the replay booth can go rely on all those different cameras, field goals.
Well, then you got
pylons,
the Marcus Freeman camera.
Yeah, there you
got
go.
The Ryan Day
there
camera.
You go. Yeah. God, 115. Well used.
We talk about the NFL being must-watch TV, wild card weekend, but according to the NFL and Nielsen, which is the rating service, they are reporting that the 6 wild card round games average 28.3 million viewers on television and the streaming platforms. The games averaged 31.2 million last season. So they are down 9.5% from last year. Roger Goodell's got to be worried about his job.
I'm sure he's not.
He must be.
Maybe it was just the
most watched game was, of course, the Eagles.
I'm sure it was.
Eagles Packers.
Maybe maybe just the games, the folks that didn't have any interest in the Chargers in Houston, or some of the other games that were out there. And then you've got so much going on. You got the college games, you have the playoffs from that standpoint, you have the NFL playoffs. Who knows why it's down? I think sometimes I'll be curious to see where these 4 games are going to be, reference to the numbers, how much it picks up. If it was at 31 for the wild card weekend last year, what the divisionals were last year with these 4 games, and then what it's going to be now in reference to these teams going at it. So I think every one of these games, as far as the Rams and your Eagles, Ravens, Bills, I think they're all good games. Now the Texans and Chiefs, might wane because people might think that the Chiefs are going to pretty much take care of business. But I feel maybe one of the biggest games, or the 2 biggest games, will be Rams, Eagles, and Ravens and Bills as far as the most watched games from that standpoint.
Paul Luby or Loby? What is it, Connor? How you say his last name? Our winner?
He said it like Lovey. Sound like Lovey, but with a B.
All right, Paul, you're our winner.
Congratulations,
so
Paul.
So good stuff there. What else we have? Oh, some of us who absolutely love Tom Brady have an issue with him being an owner of the Raiders and still doing color for Fox. Well, he's got 9 seasons left on his contract with Fox Sports. And his agent yesterday, Don Yee, said he isn't going anywhere. and that Tom, because this is a quote, Tom has had a tremendous amount of fun working with Fox this year, and he's really excited about the future with Fox and his growth on their team. And this year was the first year of a long relationship. So for those you think that, hey, with him being a 5% limited partner of the Raiders, that he shouldn't be able to do color for Fox, no one cares.
You know, I agree with that. The commissioner probably said, look, Tom, you're limited with what you can do, what you can say with the team. And he's enjoying the broadcast. Obviously, the money is overwhelmingly more so in reference to what he's doing with the Raiders. But I think that a lot of things like that are, he's not going to become a general manager. Now, that could be changed in 5 years if he feels the Raiders want to pony up and match whatever he's making with Fox. Or get him to a point, does he really want to be a day in and day out guy monitoring personnel, monitoring draft choices, monitoring free agents, as opposed to just maybe giving his 2 cents to the new whoever the new general manager is going to be for the Raiders, and just continue to do something he doesn't have to worry about day in and day out.
What's interesting is he's one of the several committee members that are interviewing the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
But the NFL, their policy prohibits him from becoming a Raiders employee.
Well,
but he's an owner.
He's
a 5% owner.
Well,
I should say limited partner.
Sure.
And maybe that doesn't mean you're an employee, which makes sense.
Yeah, but maybe if there's rules and guidelines, who can
1099?
Yeah, he's benefiting from the profits.
W2?
The profits, yeah, he'll get whatever profits he made, he'll get that in his 1099 from the Raiders. I think that the commissioner is all over this. He wants to know exactly from the interviewing process what Tom can and can't do. I think it'll be very specific. And I don't think Brady's going to have to, at some point, if he gets too involved, and the commissioner warns him to give up his 5% of whatever limited partnership or whatever his investment is.
Hey, on this day in 71, the first Super Bowl under the NFL-AFL merger ends with Baltimore rookie Jim O'Brien kicking a 32-yard field goal over the Dallas Cowboys, Connor, 16-13.
What an ugly game that was. I'm watching that game.
How do you remember?
I remember that game because I remember O'Brien.
What were you, 10?
71. I was a freshman in high school, 1971. Either 8th grade or freshman in high school. All I remember about Jim O'Brien is that Johnny Yu, who was actually quarterback in that game for the Baltimore Colts, and there's O'Brien coming in for basically a chip shot. He's got his chin strap undone, and he kicks that field goal. And I think of the Cowboys. I think that Craig Morton was quarterback, and I think Staubach and him are going back and forth. And I think the MVP might have been one of the games the Cowboys. Howley, the linebacker, when they lost, he was still named the MVP, I believe, for that game, even though the Cowboys got beat by the Colts.
95, the Rams announced they were leaving Southern California after 49 years and moving to St. Louis. In 99, the NFC Championship, this was the big one. The Falcons beat the Vikings 30-27 in overtime, and that was the infamous The Miss.
Yes.
By Vikings place kicker Gary Anderson. He misses a field goal late in that fourth quarter.
The only miss he had all year, as I recollect.
Is that what it really?
Yeah, I believe so. He pulled a left. Matter of fact, they thought they were going to the Super Bowl, and lo and behold, he misses it. OT, and Chris Chandler was a quarterback for the Falcons, lead the Falcons to that Super Bowl therein lies against the Denver Broncos. If I recollect, wasn't that Super Bowl in Atlanta too? It was freezing.
No, it was in Minneapolis.
Was it in Minneapolis?
In the Metrodome, so it was inside Manuch. You're way off.
Well, I know it was inside game because it was cold.
No, that's not where you were going.
Well, I thought it was Atlanta.
Totally going the other road. You were saying it was outside. It was cold. That's why you missed it.
Well, maybe I remember it was how cold it was. But I remember
your memory's not as strong as you think it is.
Well, it was inside. It was cold. I got that.
No,
too.
You didn't get the inside part until I told you it was in the Metrodome.
It was inside. So yes, Atlanta was inside, as though that dome was also built. I was thinking inside at that.
Somebody help me on this. I got no Jimmy B to help me today.
Yeah. In 2025, we all have goals that we aspire, maybe some things that we want to change. I think one of those, maybe Manuch takes accountability.
Well, wait a second.
Yeah,
I remember the quarterback was Chris Chandler for the Falcons. They're playing the Broncos. The Broncos beat them in that game. I knew it was inside. I thought it was in Atlanta, but I misspoke.
But this game was Atlanta and Minnesota. This has nothing to do with No.
It was Atlanta and Denver.
No, this is Atlanta and Vikings. We're talking about the miss.
No, they're talking about I'm talking about the Super Bowl.
We're not talking about Super Bowl. I was talking about 99 on this day, the NFC Championship.
Well,
Where do you go with the Super Bowl?
What I said is Atlanta beat them in overtime, and then they went to the Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos, which the Broncos won. And I thought it was
that game could have been in Atlanta.
See, that's what I'm saying.
But we weren't talking about that. We were talking about the NFC Championship, which is in Minneapolis. Yeah. You are right about the Atlanta game because that was the Ice Bowl, and I was there.
Yes.
That was the year of the Ice Bowl where the whole city – you couldn't go anywhere because the whole city was ice.
1 minute. And
it was one of the hardest Super Bowls I've ever worked.
What I said Atlanta went on to go to the Super Bowl in Atlanta, and Denver beat them, and it basically was horrible. I flipped on you, Rock.
You guys
Hang with me.
You guys been doing this for how long now?
20 years.
20 years.
50 seconds.
Man.
27 years ago, Dennis Rodman was fined 25 G's and suspended indefinitely for kicking a cameraman. Kicked him right in the crotch, if you remember. He got 11 games, cost him at least $1 million. He agreed to pay the guy $200,000. So I'd get kicked in the nuts for $200,000, right?
lose the family life on top of
all
that.
day long. Hey, CEO and president of the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, Eric Moses is going to join us. We got Kevin Rowe. We got Scott Spreitzer. Got a lot to get into, plus our locks. It's all coming up in hour number 2 from Wright Toyota. It's Roc and Manuch and Jimmy V on ESPN 620 and 98.7 HD2.
And now, an
He might
on-air
knock down to
sports
at the
marketing.
top.
Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at ArizonaSports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602 B.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Roc and Manuch. Today, you got Jax. We got CC Connor at the ESPN 620 studios in Phoenix. We're out here at Wright Toyota in North Scottsdale. We'll be here till 4 o'clock. Last night, of course, the Suns, they held on as they beat the Wizards 130-23. Sun Devils, they're going to hopefully avoid their fourth straight loss as they are in Cincinnati to take on the Bearcats tomorrow at noon. Wildcats, they're in Texas in Lubbock to take on welcomes Portland State. So there you have it when it comes to some of the basketball games that are here locally, at least in the Arizona market. So we're looking forward to
Hey, you're going the wrong way, man. You got to get a win here. And they'll get a week from Saturday. They got Iowa State, number 2. That they'll be fine. ASU, on the other hand, I think it's just going to be a long road this first year in the Big 12.
The divisional round of the NFL postseason, of course, is set. We got some good games tomorrow with the two-time defending champion Super Bowl
Some of those fields when it's damp or it gets slick or icy or snowy. The Rams, indoor team, play mostly west of the Mississippi. They're going to have to learn quickly how to run if it's a slick field. Just like the San Francisco-Buffalo game, was it several weeks ago, when you had that snowstorm come in, you hardly saw the Bills at all slip and slide because they knew how to handle that. They knew how to run on it. I called you, someone had to kind of gear down a little bit. And as far as receivers running routes, they've got the advantage against some of these defensive backs. That's why the passing game seems to go up for a lot of teams like that.
Yeah, I'm still kind of scratching my head that Houston is even there. I did not think that they were going to dominate the Chargers the way they did in the wild card round. We didn't get a chance to talk about the Texans with Sean Salisbury in the last hour. But
their defense, Rock. Is their defense?
That and Joe Mixon,
Mm-hmm.
he had 106 yards last week and a touchdown, but he's listed as questionable.
Saw that.
He had an ankle injury flare-up this week, so that may have something to do with the betting, and we'll talk to Scott Spreitzer a little bit later on that because that's got to play into this.
Well, their passing game finally started to come around. I think that Houston being under the radar the entire year is because C.J. Stroud, I thought, struggled a little bit this year. But again, you get the book on a young man like that with the great year he had last year as a rookie to this year as far as putting pressure on him. He ran a lot more this year because of the pressure, because of how they came out him. And I think what they did a very good job of him in that second half is you talk about Mixon having a good second half, the passing game. They found some flaws. And then the interceptions, a pick six, pretty much opened it up. But Justin Herbert was out of sorts. Why was he? Because of the pressure and because of the coverage, especially on two of those deep balls. He underthrew two of those deep balls. Both those defensive backs made the interception. And the other interception, which came off the hands of the tight end that popped up, that went the other way for a pick six. Unfortunate, but then again, Houston took advantage of that. So talk about a true test in Kansas City. I think their defense will keep them in the game. I think the Chiefs win it, but their defense keeps this Houston team in the game.
You know, I kind of just saw this pop up. I didn't even think about it, but the Texans, they've never been in an AFC championship game. And if they could get by KC, it'd be the first time in their franchise history.
Yeah.
So I kind of root for them.
Sure.
I know there's a lot of Chiefs fans in this town. We did a blind draft a couple nights ago for the playoffs and who's going to win the Super Bowl, and there's a lot of money at stake. And I got Kansas City, but I almost don't want to win because I don't want to root for Kansas City. I just can't.
Are they the new New England Patriots?
Totally are.
To go look for.
And they proved it. I mean, they're not quite the dynasty that the Patriots were, but they're damn close.
Well, if this will be the first team ever if they win 3 in a row, then
they're a dynasty.
Then they're absolutely
no question.
Well, they've won 3 out of the last 4, and they're looking to win these next 3 in a row. They're a total dynasty right now, and I think that the way I look at it is as bad as this team played, they were pretty much like a cat with 9 lives with a blocked field goal, missed field goals. You know, they were living on the edge as far as some of their wins. You know, can they recapture that? They had the week off. They got healthy. Can Andy Reid come up with a game plan against this defense in Kansas City to get them to where they were as their offense last year going into the playoffs? Travis Kelce is healthy. The receiving core. I mean, look at that receiving core last year. Look how bad that receiving core was last year. All the drops they had. But when they got to the playoffs, everything went away. They're catching everything. They go through the playoffs. They had the weather help them, as I mentioned earlier, with that Miami game at minus 27 degrees below zero. They win that. They go to the Super Bowl. It's a tight game going back and forth. San Fran could have won that game easily. But the Niners could never stop that offense at the end of regulation and in the playoffs. So we're wondering to see where's that offense been all year if they can recapture that during the playoffs.
Here's an interesting note for you degenerates. The Chiefs have not covered the spread this season. 0-6 against the spread when playing as at least a 7.5 point favorite. They're
really?
an 8.5 point favorite right now, according to DraftKings. 0-6. They're also overall 7-10 against the spread this season. So if you like trends, then this is going to tell you to be all over Houston in the 8.5.
Well, and I think that's probably been lack of the offense that they have not had, that they've won with their special teams, or they've won with somebody missing a field goal, or they've won with blocking a field goal, or they've won with a last second touchdown pass to whomever. They just have never looked right as far as the offense. Even though they're 15-2, you go, wow, they're Manuch, they're 15-2. Yeah, but they've got there's probably 3 or 4 games that they got away with, or I should say that they probably should have lost. Now that doesn't demean they're a hell of a team, but I think that's what Andy Reid wants to do, is try to really recapture some of the offense he had last year and to have that kind of consistency.
So, big weekend of NFL football. Monday we'll be out at DraftKings TBC Scottsdale. We encourage you to come on out and join us. We'll be there from 1 to 4, and then I'll stick around, watch the game. Should be a lot of fun. Ohio State, Notre Dame. It's a great matchup, a really great matchup. I think everybody's pretty much looking forward to that. I just hope it's not a dud. We talked about it yesterday. 7 of the 10 CFP championship games have been blowouts, absolute blowouts. least over 14 to 21 points. I mean, those type of odds. So let's hope that that's not the case. Let's hope it's a good game and Ohio State wins.
Ohio State. I just want to see a good game. I mean, and I kind of root for Ohio State as well too. I love it with the talent. Will Howard being a former K-State quarterback, sentimental for him. But you know what? This thing goes down to the wire. That's what I want to see. Something go down the wire and not see a blowout.
All right, so we do this little contest with Kevin Rowe from Lerner and Rowe, one of our great partners here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. It's our over-under contest, and it's going to have everything to do with Notre Dame and Ohio State, like the combined over-under 700 yards of offense, or Will Howard or Riley Leonard will have a combined over-under 500 yards, or how about the over-under with sacks, which is 3, regarding Riley Leonard, and then the score and the win, whoever wins and scores. So those will be the 4 that you will have. We will take the 5th caller, that is. You'll compete against Kevin Rowe, and we'll bring you on. We'll get you picks, and you can win this huge swag bag that Kevin has put together. It's pretty cool. All kinds of great stuff in there. It's like a box. I'm wearing one of the. So if you want to play, you got to call in at 602-230-0620, and you can challenge the counselor. We'll take the 5th caller. It's the Lerner and Rowe over-under challenge next on Roc and Manuch on ESPN 620, 98.7 HD2.
Law firm Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check, just call Lerner and Rowe at 602-977-1900. At Lerner and Rowe, no fees unless you win. Now, Counselor Kevin Rowe on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
Interact, need a check, make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900, and always at lernerrow.com. Kevin joins us now here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. How we doing this Friday there, Kev?
Rock, man, it is so great to hear from you 2 consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
This is fantastic, bud. Congratulations. Got to be a record for you, big guy.
Yeah, so all right, he's going to pick on me. So we had this, we had a call this week, okay, me, him, and a client, right? The first half hour was all about fitness and all this other crap.
Right.
It had nothing to do with why we were having this meeting. Wasted 30 minutes of my day. All about fitness.
No.
And what?
Manuch,
Yes.
Hold up. It actually pertains to Rock. He just decided to not listen. It was actually not about fitness, but health and wellness.
Okay.
2 subjects Rock does not care about.
God forbid he hears something he needs to hear, right, Counselor?
Jeez. All right. Hey.
Exactly.
All right, Kev, we'll get.
Trying to keep you alive, Rock.
I
Trying to
know.
keep you healthy, buddy.
I love you. I love you. All right, we'll get back to that. But we have Tom Boyle is on the line. He wants to compete against the counselor. So we're going to get started here with the first question, and that is Notre Dame and Ohio State will have a combined over-under 700 yards of total offense. Over or under, Kevin?
Oh, that's a lot. 700 combined. You know, obviously both these teams, it's definitely Ohio State, has the air attack and the ground attack. And then you're looking at Notre Dame that they start with the ball on the ground. So they're going to be eating up a lot of clock as well, too. 700 yards. Let's go with the under.
Under
700.
All right. Tom, what's up, buddy? How are you? Happy New Year to you.
Same to you guys. Listen, I had to put in a silver alert to find out where you were.
Well, you found us.
Damn, you found
us.
Yeah.
All right.
I can only go under on this one. I mean, maybe by 200 yards under.
Under. Sounds like you're from Boston. Under.
All right, question number 2 for you two. Ohio State quarterback Will Howard and Notre Dame quarterback Riley Leonard will have a combined over-under 500 yards of passing. Over-under 500 yards of passing. The 2 QBs. What do you got, Counselor?
Oh, me first. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know they're QBs. Appreciate that.
There you go. Never know.
500 yards of passing
Total combined.
Passing?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I don't see Riley Leonard getting about maybe 150. So you're trying to say the other one's going to get 350 or more?
Might could.
And I'm not saying he couldn't by any means, but I'm going with the under.
Okay. All right, Tom, what are you going with?
I'll go with the over.
Okay.
All right.
They can both get hot. Never
All right. Number 3, Ohio State will have over under 3 sacks on the Notre Dame quarterback, Riley Leonard. 3 sacks, over under. Kevin.
Over.
Okay. You knew right away. Tom?
I'll take the under.
Oh, man, this is going to come down. So, right now, it's tied on all the picks. So, it will come down to the winner and the score, especially if you guys pick the same team. The score will be what will determine
tiebreak
this week's win.
All right, what do you got, Counselor? The winner and score, Kevin Rowe.
Well, if you listen to Lou Holtz, he's saying the heart, and they ain't Notre Dame, so Notre Dame's going to do it. But I don't listen to Lou Holtz. I'm going with my brain, and I'm going to say Ohio State is going to win this game, and I'm going to go 34-24.
I like it.
All right, Tom, what are you going with?
I'm going to go Ohio State 28-24.
28.
We got close.
Oh, it's going to come down to that. All right, good stuff. Tom, thanks for finding us here on ESPN 620. Appreciate you. You've been following us for a long time, so thank you.
You bet.
All right, the counselor joins us, okay, again. So we get back to this health and fitness thing,
yes,
right?
Explain.
So literally, it got into some stuff that's way over my head. It wasn't just like, oh, here's some supplements. I mean, it was like another level. and both the two guys, Kevin and our good buddy Lindsay's in there, and literally just going nuts. And I'm like, we got this call. We're trying to get ready for our charity golf tournament in April 25th at McCormick Ranch, and come on,
God forbid a health.
Manuch, it was great.
Yeah.
Obviously, Manuch, it's a Zoom call, and you could just see Roc staring out the window.
No, I was at my other computer.
Or what we're talking.
I'm checking emails.
I don't want to talk about being healthy. What do you mean? I don't want to be healthy.
God forbid, right?
Somebody got a beer? Pass me a beer.
Yeah, no. I brought in Cocoa 5. I'm like, hey, check out Cocoa 5 hydration. That's what I brought to the table. I was like, hey, if you're looking for,
I know, and I love that you brought the deal because you're always selling, buddy. Yeah. Always selling. ABC, Roc's ABC, always be closing.
Always be closing. You got it, buddy. That's good stuff. All right, buddy. You have yourself a great weekend, and good luck to you here. And we'll see what it comes down. It'll come down to the score of the game. You got him by 10. And Tom's got him by 4. So thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Have a good weekend.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care.
It's Kevin Rowe joining us. Lerner and Rowe. One call, that's all. You know it. 602-977-1900. So I think a lot of people are on Ohio State.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, they're hot. I mean, the talent, they're hot. But I thought Texas exposed them a little bit as far as some of the things, running the ball or as far as preventing some of the run. And they got all over Smith. They double covered him. Sometimes had him triple covered. But I think Howard did a good job of utilizing his tight ends. Running game really came to fruition. But I got to tell you Sarkisian, you got first and goal from the 1 yard line. And they snuff you there. And then it's second in, I don't know. Then you go do a stretch play and you lose 4 or 5 yards on that one. And then another pass play, then fourth down. And here you are going for it, and you was at 4th and goal from like the 10. You're losing yardage. Why not just go 3 times your quarterback sneak and get in there and as far as score the touchdown? But Sawyer comes off the edge, and I think when Kevin said they'll go over as far as the 3 sacks are concerned on Riley Leonard because you have that front 7 that can get after pretty good. So I think Sark in his play calling or trying to be creative or imaginative and also the speed of the one linebacker or this Ohio State defense shut him down at the 1 and then shut him down as far as trying to go to the outside.
If again, we always like talking about spreads, and we're going to talk to Scott Spreitzer here in a moment. But if you look at Notre Dame, 14-1 this year straight up. They led the nation 13-2 against the spread. Now for Ohio State, somewhat impressive too. 13-2. 13-2 straight up, but only 9-6 against the spread. So you're gonna have to, figure out what you want to do there. Now, Ohio State's 3-0 straight up and 3-0 against the spread in the postseason. And all 3 of those W's were double digits.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Well, you see that 8.5, and you go, as well as Notre Dame's playing and their defense in Ohio State. But if Ohio State gets on a roll like they did in that Oregon game, and they come out just guns a-blazing, or you get a couple stops. I mean, they came out there against Texas. The Texas made a couple adjustments and slowed them down, got back in the game. So this thing could go either way. But I just see 8.5 is just such a large spread for this game. Watching Notre Dame play this year.
I've bet it a lot of different ways, but I think I'm going to continue to bet it. We'll be at DraftKings, so I'm sure I'll, not do the app, go do something in person so I can take the cash when I get it in person. I'm probably going to be doing more of a second half bet, kind of look and see how this game's being played.
Define that for me, please, the second half bet.
It's no different than a full game bet.
Okay.
So say you place a bet, the score could be 20-10 Ohio State.
Right.
And then the spread's going to change in the second half,
okay,
where Ohio State's now going to be favored by, say, 12 or 13, and you can either take it, leave it, whatever you're going to do. And there's all types of different, who's going to be the first to score, the props, and all that kind of fun stuff. So.
I want to say a good game, a close game. I just want to see that blowout situation. I mean, I think that last blowout with Georgia, was Stetson was quarterbacking, and they just totally they blew the door. I forget who it was. If it was Clemson or whoever, but it was up by 4 or 5 touchdowns at halftime. Who was that? Who was that game against there? TCU. Yeah, that was just ugly to see that
Was
game.
that game like 66-3
it
or
was
66-10 or
It
something?
was. I was just glad to see TCU score into that game. So, yeah, I just want to see a good game come down the wire, and I think a lot of everybody. And I just look at that 8.5.
It would be unfortunate for the CFP to have a blowout after what a great postseason it has been. I know you can say all the teams that had the byes and the home teams and things like that, and how that all unfolded. But it would truly be such a bummer if either of these two teams blew out the other. Even though Notre Dame would love to see a blowout, so would Ohio State.
Yeah, but on top of that, Roc, I think that we do have the two best teams in the nation going against each other, and it could go down quick.
What if Texas would have won last week?
Well,
would you still say you would say the same thing?
Yeah, I mean,
of course we got the two. But best teams.
They've eliminated each other to get the two best teams. I mean, some of the SEC folks might bemoan the fact that Texas should have won at the 1 yard line. No, they lost. So, but I think that what happens with so many of these games is if a team gets on a roll, it's tough to slow them down. You got to counter it, and I can see how Notre Dame would counter if this Ohio State team gets on a roll, specifically if Will Howard starts to air it out against the secondary against Notre Dame, which I don't think he will. I really don't. I think that they'll be fine. I just think that Notre Dame's defense, they're physical, they're fast, and they'll keep them in check at least for a time.
The thing is, you can't make an argument either on how these teams got there. And if they would have, if you looked at the way that they got there, Texas had to beat Clemson. Mm-hmm. Then they had to beat Arizona State, and then they had to, they fell to Ohio State. So if they were going to go the whole way, same with the others on the bottom of the bracket. Notre Dame had to beat Indiana. Okay, that wasn't that big a deal. But the fact that they beat Georgia and then took care of Penn State, they had a hard road to get there.
Did. Yes.
Ohio State, you can make a case the fact that they blew out Oregon, which was the number one team to get where they are, and then they kind of basically you put 14 on Texas. They all earned it to get there.
Yeah, and that Texas game turned into a good game. I mean, that really turned into a good game.
You could have made a case. If Penn State would have beat Notre Dame, you could have said, hey, they had an easy road.
Sure.
SMU, Boise State, that's the only thing that would have been a knock if that would have happened. So, anyway, coming up next, the NFL wildcard weekend wasn't nearly as competitive as predicted. That will change this week. I'm sure it will. We're going to catch up with sports handicapper Scott Spreitzer. He'll discuss that as well as give us his picks for the Natty. But first, here's Jax with your latest 620 sports update. here on our new home, ESPN 620, 98.7 HD2. And Scott, for those of you that are new to our program, Scott's been with us for close to 15 years. He's been on almost every station we've been on. So here he is. And I promise you will love Scott. And he's part of DocSports.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Scott Wins, and arguably the best in the business. And he joins us now here on ESPN 620. How we doing, Scott? What's going on, my friend?
I'm doing well, guys. Just gonna wait for this big weekend, man. Love the wild card round. Love the divisional round. No doubt about it.
So we're coming off that wild card weekend. It wasn't nearly as competitive, I think, that some would have predicted, but hopefully that will change. Let's start with the Chiefs. They are solid favorites, expected to win by at least a touchdown here. But when I look at the numbers, we talked about it a little bit earlier here on the program, they haven't covered the spread this season. They're 0-6 against the spread when they're playing as at least a 7.5-point favor. Will that trend continue, or do you see something else happening here?
I think the trend is going to end, and I'm hoping that at least this game is not competitive, guys. So it tells you what I'm looking at.
Okay.
I'm on KC here. I laid the 8 points. You know, everybody, of course, knows about, Andy Reid 21-2 when his teams are off a bye and their opponent played the previous week. He's 33-7 straight up off a bye overall in his coaching career, 25-15 against the spread. You go back to that game where they beat Houston 27-19 back on December 21st. And C.J. Stroud, he did throw for 244 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 picks. And he's going to be missing 2 of his top 3 receivers for this game. Tank Dell had a big week against KC in that game. He won't be playing in this one. You got Joe Mixon, who's expected to play, but he's banged up. And then I also got Stroud's numbers. They drop significantly when he plays outdoors. He's won 5 of 11 games when he's outside. His passer rating drops big time. Completion rate drops under 60%. It's going to be extremely cold this week. He's got to face a defense ranked in the top 5 over the final third of the season. KC really picked it up defensively over the last several weeks. And then the offensive line is healthy now. They're playing well. They gave up just 1 sack in that game against Houston. And then the final note on this for me is Patrick Mahomes, 6-0 in divisional round games, 13 touchdowns, no picks, passer rating almost 116. I got to trust Mahomes and Reed in this one in extremely cold conditions, at home, off the bye. I went ahead and laid the 8 with KC. I think they win by a couple touchdowns.
All right, Scott, let's look at the Commanders at the Lions, minus 9.5 for the Lions. And Lions have had the bye week. David Montgomery looks like he's coming back. It looks like they're getting a little healthier on defense, but I think the true we are ready to go test was that Minnesota game 2-3 weeks ago where they prevented Sam Darnold 0-4 in the red zone. What was he, 3 for 12 in the red zone as far as completions? That seemed to be like the we're ready to go for the playoffs statement.
Yeah, they ate up that Minnesota offensive line in that game. You're right. And, this game's going to be interesting because Washington's offense was held in check last week. It's, 9 minutes to go in the game. It's 17-13 Tampa Bay. And then Baker Mayfield has that nightmare fumble when he didn't even get hit, botches the handoff at the keeper at his own 13-yard line. And then Washington scores a touchdown 4 plays later. I don't like to take away too much from that final possession by Washington because they did go 51 yards on 10 plays for that game-winning field goal. But again, the difference maker in that game truly was that fumble at his own 13 by Mayfield. And when I started really jumping into the metrics and everything else in that game, the Commanders gave up 6.5 yards per play. They gained 5 yards per play. They were held to 2.5 yards per carry. I'm as big of a Jaden Daniels fan as the next guy, and maybe he has his sophomore slump next season, But on the road, again, in a playoff is not a good environment for a rookie quarterback, despite the fact he got the win last week. 3rd straight road game for the Commanders also, and chalk of 7 or more in these playoff games, favorites of 7 or more. They've won 18 playoff games in a row. I think if you're going to look at this game and you're a 7-point teaser fan, you tease Detroit down under a field goal down to about 2.5, and you tie them with a couple of other teams or at least one other team for that 2-team 7-point teaser. That's probably as far as I'd go in this one. I do like that they got Sonic and Knuckles back, Gibbs and Montgomery. But the bottom line is I think Detroit wins the game. I stayed away from it because I just thought 9.5 was a little bit too high.
Scott, I'm just very curious as far as prop bets are concerned for this game. Is there a prop bet for how many fourth down attempts Dan Campbell goes for the Lions over under? Because I wonder if he's learned his lessons from last year in reference to the NFC Championship game, and that doesn't come back to haunt him try that again.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing I was going to mention, and I didn't until you mentioned Dan Campbell, is that alpha male emotional mentality. That's one of the reasons I couldn't lay all those points, because you don't know at what point he's going to let emotion kind of overtake his actual logical thinking. And we all love Dan Campbell, but it's the way he is. And because of that, that's what held me off of laying those big points. I thought there's going to be some spot in this game where he makes an emotionally based decision and it comes back to bite them. I haven't seen any props for how many times he's going to go for it or not. But as far as making that one bad decision based on emotion, boy, I tell you, I'd play the over in a heartbeat on that one.
All right, let's talk about the Eagles and Packers. There's a possibility of snow in the forecast there in Philadelphia. And if it does start to snow, I'm sure this offensive line and Saquon Barkley will definitely be an edge. But how do you kind of handicap this one with the Eagles? I believe -6.
Yeah, I lean the Eagles here a little bit, but what I like more is a prop. We were just kind of mentioning props there, and I'll give you one here. You look at Jalen Hurts. He played in 15 regular season games. He had 150 carries in 15 games. But in one of those 15 games, his final one, he barely played. He threw 4 passes. He ran the ball 3 times, and then he got injured. So we're talking basically 14 games, 147 carries, 10.5 per game. You get third and short potential here. You get tush push, brotherly shove, fourth and short. They're going to go for it on fourth and short. They're going to, run brotherly shove on third and short. You get any kneel downs. If Philadelphia has the lead and the ball late in the game, those count as rushing attempts. And I look back to the Week 12 game where they had 12 carries in that game, despite the fact that Saquon Barkley had 26 carries for 255 yards. The over-under on Hurts attempts is 9.5. And I went ahead and gobbled that up yesterday, played over 9.5, thinking he probably gets 12 or 13. And again, like you said, if the weather's bad, they're going to be keeping the ball on the ground more often than not.
All right, Ravens and Bills. Looks like I looked at -1.5 right now. Is this going to eventually get down to a pick 'em?
Yeah, it's been 1.5. Buffalo opened the favorite, and the Ravens now the short favorite. This is one of those games, the Buffalo Bills, who are going to be popular along with Detroit. You're going to see a lot of people doubling these two teams up, Buffalo and Detroit, on 2-team teasers. And they're going to be teasing Buffalo up over 7. My thing is, who do we trust here? Lamar on the road in the freezing temps, 9 degrees, wind chill 0, or do we trust Josh Allen at home in these conditions? I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. In fact, I like the guy off the field as much as I like him on the field. But Josh Allen is showing discipline like we haven't seen before from him. And I don't mind that Lamar's 0-2 in the divisional round. A lot of good quarterbacks have had sub-500 records. But what bothers me, his divisional round quarterback rating is 44, 56 completion rate, 56%, 1-2 touchdown to INT ratio. His overall, playoff numbers, you're talking about a QBR of less than 80. He's admitted to being anxious and getting a little bit, freaked out at some of these high-pressure games. I don't trust him in this spot until I see that he can make it happen. And then finally, Josh Allen, he's number 1 in the NFL in QBR and quarterback rushing touchdowns when under pressure this year. I know Derrick Henry gives Lamar an added dimension. I got to go with Buffalo in this one, guys.
All right, the Natty on Monday. How are you handicapping this one?
I got to lay the points, man. You know what? I've been on the Buckeyes, all 3 playoff games thus far, and I've been able to cash. Even in last week's game when it looked like Texas had a great shot to tie it up there towards the end of the game, and then you had the strip sack fumble return for a touchdown. But I question whether Riley Leonard can make the type of reads and adjustments through the air that we saw out of Ewers. And what Ewers did, it looked like Texas was going to get run out of the building. And I thought there were some nice changes there by the Longhorns, and that they started throwing short routes. They started throwing to the short side of the field, that kind of stuff. That's real quick timing stuff. And I don't know that Riley Leonard has shown that he has that. He's more of that, tough running quarterback with the occasional throw. I'm also worried about Notre Dame losing 2 offensive left tackles over the course of the last few weeks. They now face a defense that's been a sack machine in the playoffs. 5 sacks, over 5 sacks per game so far in the playoffs. real quick note about the teams that gave Ohio State trouble. It'll be interesting to see if the Irish follow Michigan's lead, because as you guys know, they want to play man coverage. But we saw Michigan, we saw the Longhorns, even Nebraska's lead on defense, play soft coverage. Not the first one to talk about this, but play soft coverage and then give room, or the perception to Ohio State that they have room in the ground game. That's what those three defenses did. I can't wait to see if the Irish do that. If they do it, they got a chance. I don't think they'll be able to do it, and I think the Buckeyes win probably by about 2 touchdowns.
Awesome. Great stuff, Scott. Have a great weekend. Good luck to you. We'll talk to you next week.
Good luck, guys. Take care.
Scott Spreitzer. Check him out at ScottWins, DocSports.com. We got our locks of the week next. Plus, will this game between Buffalo and Baltimore make history? Will it be the most watched AFC title game ever because of these two quarterbacks? We'll dive into that, too. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Whew. ESPN 620.
It's time for the guys to give you their locks of the weekend, whether it's on the football field, basketball.
All right, making Mike's hot.
All diamond. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B give their locks of the weekend to help put some money in your pockets. Now, the locks.
All right. Well, we're going to attempt to put some money in your pocket. Well, let's see how we did last week. If you won some money or lost some money. Jax.
I feel left out. I actually was the only loser from last week. We went 3-1 as a group. I had Chargers -6 at the Texans. They lost outright. I'm currently leading though 11-6, but nipping at my heels at 10-7. Rock had Eagles -4.5 versus the Packers. Manuch also took the Eagles -4.5 as well. He's 8-9, and Connor got his underdog right and I was lock right. Commanders money line. Off to a hot start. So
All right.
I guess he's qualified for week. Is this 2?
Can come back. Yeah.
Yeah, 2.
He got his dog and his luck, right?
Yeah. Beginner's luck. It's syllabus.
Luck.
It's still syllabus week. All right, I'll start. I'm going Eagles -6 over the Rams, and I know it's a feel-good story with the Rams. I just think the short week. I think the weather. I think that's going to play into this. I think this Eagles offensive line is just the best in the league. And I think that's going to play into this. I do. McVay is an outstanding coach. He's probably going to have this team ready to go. I'm just going to hope that the home field advantage will be the difference. And 6, if it was 7, but at 6, I'm all over it. And go Eagles.
I'm going to go the Lions -9.5 over the Commanders. Commanders very fortunate to be in that game. And as Rich Scott Spreitzer said, the fumble could not believe that Baker Mayfield doesn't put the receiver in motion earlier and hands the ball off, gave the Commanders a chance for that. But I just think the Lions having the week off, they are bound and determined to win it all. Jared Goff in this offense, now that David Montgomery will be playing, they're hot. And I think that their defense will come alive and look to smother Jaden Daniels, prevent him from getting on the perimeter as far as running it, put the pressure on him. But I just think that this Lions team, this offense is hot. I'm going to go with my lock, the Lions -9.5 over the Commanders.
All right, I'm going to stick with the Lions, but I'm going to do a prop bet because Scott Spreitzer did a prop bet, and I got 2 anytime touchdowns. You combine them together, it's +118. I'm going to go with the Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs to score a touchdown. I know David Montgomery's back in the lineup, but Gibbs has scored 6 touchdowns the last 4 weeks. And the other side of things, you add Jahmyr Gibbs and you make your way over to the Ravens-Bills game. I just do not see Manuch, the Bills, stopping Derrick Henry. He's had 5 touchdowns in the last 3 games. I think he scores as well. So with that being said, Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown, Derrick Henry touchdown, +118. You're welcome for the money I put in your pocket. Connor?
It's a good one there. What's up, Connor?
Yeah, I think I'm going to piggyback a little bit off of Jack there. Instead of going with the prop bets, I think I'm going to roll the Baltimore Ravens to cover the 1.5. This is a good game between the two teams, but I think this is a chance that Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team gets to finally set themselves apart. They've been playing good football all year long. Now it's just time to play when the lights are brightest.
And I don't think the weather's going to affect them whatsoever. I mean, both teams, cold weather teams, slobber knock games.
Be sweet.
It is. Can't wait.
Hey, our locks are brought to you by Upper Crust Pizza and Wine Bar in Phoenix. It's the Ohio State Alumni Club of Phoenix. You can check it out on Monday, Bucks and Notre Dame. Upper Crust Pizza and Wine Bar, which is located at Cave Creek in the 101 next to Costco. You can't miss it. Talking about that Ravens-Bills game, it could be historic. If you go back in history, because these two quarterbacks, of course, this Sunday's game does not feature the Chiefs, the Cowboys, or the Lions. Those are the 3 biggest viewership draws this year. Last year, or the 2024 AFC Championship game last year between Jackson and Mahomes, the 2 previous MVP winners, was the most watched AFC title game, 55.5 million viewers.
That's
average
incredible.
Viewers. You go back to the game before, the week before, Mahomes defeated Allen in what was the most watched divisional game of all time with more than 50 million viewers. So you wonder if this Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson face-off, 2 of the season's MVP candidates, top 2 candidates, the game is going to be, they position it at the Sunday night game, which is absolutely perfect for everyone to see. Will it do more than 56 million people?
That's incredible. I mean, that's
55.5 last year with the Chiefs Ravens.
Sunday night football at its finest right there. And what you're saying right there, Rock, to your point about the 2 MVP candidates going at it, and people are wanting to know, can Lamar Jackson finally get his team win a playoff game, get his team to the Super Bowl? And then there's Josh Allen. Can the Bills finally get back to a Super Bowl and not have the Chiefs knock them off? So
the Bills and the Ravens last faced off in the playoffs in the 2021 divisional round. It only drew 27 million viewers. That was the least watched divisional games since 2009. 2009. Now, I don't know when that game was being played. Was it the early window, the mid window, the late window?
Sure.
I'm not sure. That could have played into it, but only 27 million people.
Yeah, and at that time there wasn't the Lamar Jackson was prime as far as he might have won his first or second MVP award during that season. Then Josh Allen kind of new on the scene, kind of getting the Bills to that point. But this one is like must-watch TV. I just think from the physicality standpoint, Jackson talked about, can the Bills slow down Derrick Henry? Can they slow down Lamar Jackson? You got an outstanding tight end core. You got a good receiving core. I mean, this Baltimore Ravens team is just loaded, and then their defense. And then if the Ravens defense stops or slows down Josh Allen, is that going to be the crux of the offense?
Do you look at the last time they played? In September?
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about that because it's so early. But
it's so long ago.
35-10. I mean, it was 21-3 at halftime.
Well, it's not even that too. It's the fact that in the NFL they'll let up 271 rushing yards.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think it's been so long.
The bowling ball.
Adjustments have been made. You've got it's been 3 months. You look at some of that. They look at some of that tape. They look at tendencies. But at that point in time, you have self-scouted yourself so much to where what are you doing right? What are you doing wrong? But I think that both these teams pretty much, you are who you are. You're going to pound the football. Lamar Jackson can throw it. He's throwing the ball so much better this year. He's staying in the pocket. He's not taking off as much as he had in years past. And then there's Josh Allen, who's been responsible with the ball this year, more so than I've seen in the last couple of years, learning how to play that quarterback position, knowing when to run, when to pull up, and when to throw. That throw he had last week, 4th and 1, he's going to run it for sure, right? No, he rolls out to his right, sees Ty Johnson coming across the back of the end zone, and throws a frozen rope from 35 yards away in reference to knowing when to make a play and when not to make a play.
So the edge rusher for the Rams, Jared Verse,
rookie?
A rookie.
Yeah.
And he did not do himself any favors. He said today that he hates Eagles fans. As an Eagle fan, you do not do that.
Why?
You're going to Philly.
Why you put that out
Saquon
there?
Barkley came out today. It's on ESPN.com. I just posted. Said probably not the smartest thing to say when you're coming to Philadelphia.
No,
I've been on the other side as a member of the New York Giants, and even if I felt extra fuel, I'm pretty sure Philly fans have seen that comment. It was already going to be loud and rocking, so it's just going to be. They're just going to add to it.
Before you even said what he
dumbass.
What he
in
said,
the LA Times.
You go, yeah, he's a rookie, and you said what he said. You just be quiet, ignore the noise, go about do your job, and get ready. I mean, you have to ignore the noise and cut it out. I get it.
And this kid is from Pennsylvania. He grew up in Bloomsburg, which is about 100 miles northwest of Philly. He said, when I see green and white, I hate it. I actually get upset. Like, I actually genuinely get hot. I mean,
well, if that motivates you, so be it. If that's that, you're going to need that to motivate you, but you shouldn't have to worry about that. That's just him taking his shot at the Eagles. How about you just wait till the game's over? Or you could say that in the offseason. Well, how about not just say it at all? And then just kind of save you the angst and all the grilling you're going to get. But then again, he's going to be playing rock. He'll be ignoring any kind of the noise. If that's what motivates him to get to Jalen Hurts, so be it.
Hey, on Monday, we'll be at DraftKings Sportsbook at TBC Scottsdale. That's the area's best kept secret for sports entertainment. We'll be broadcasting from 1 to 4. Make sure you tune in. A chance to win some gift cards from DraftKings Sportsbook there at TPC. So we'll be there for the Natty. It should be a lot of fun. Hopefully you can come out and join us. Should be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Coming up in hour number 3, we have the best of our rewind from 2025 from Jax. But first, we'll catch up with 2-time Super Bowl champion Redskins Mark May. I want to ask him about what Lou Holtz said about Ohio State. We both know that Mark May can't stand the Buckeyes. Well, now Lou Holtz is jumping on the same bandwagon. Those guys have been doing a podcast together for many years. So we'll catch up with Mark. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B from Wright Toyota here on ESPN 620.
Bomb
On-air sports marketing presentation.
And say the intro takes about 20, 30 seconds,
Yeah.
so that gives them some time if needed.
Those guys they know how to open a show.
Yeah, but we don't want you coming in and sabotaging when we open it.
It's Roc and Manuch.
Gotta bring
with
some
Jimmy
flavor.
B now on ESPN 620.
All right, I'm going to make Mike's hot here.
FM HD2 and streaming live at ArizonaSports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
All right, Mark Bay will join us in about 30 minutes. We'll have our rewind, which is a special rewind today.
I thought you were going to say your favorite segment.
It's not.
Oh, Rock's Man Vice.
That's the best.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Manuch's Clipboard. You tune into
That's
Manuch's
the
Clipboard.
worst segment of all time. But basically, we're going to have some fun. We're going to go back in time. Flashback Friday with our rewind, and we'll go back through the last year. Unfortunately, Jimmy B's not with us today, so he will not be able to benefit from the rewind.
He said he listened, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he asked me what time the Jack's Rewind was, and I told him, we've been doing this now for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
It's 3:15 still every Friday.
I don't know how he makes it to work every day.
My goodness.
Just I don't know how he gets that little body, gets in a little clown car, and he gets to where
How the little fella gets in the little car.
It is a clown car. It's
Gets
so
down
tiny.
the road.
He's got that little booster seat, so he can get up. So he can see over the steering wheel. So, but we are out here, Wright Toyota, right on the corner, right on the price, Wright Toyota. So the rewind will come up in about 10 minutes, and then we'll have Mark May, and then we'll tell you what's on tap for the weekend. As you got a lot of college basketball. Both games on Saturday have Arizona State and Arizona going at it. You have Cincinnati, which you'll be able to hear right here on ESPN 620, 98.7 HD2. It is also on the CBS Sports Network. And then Arizona at Texas Tech, and that's TV at ABC and ESPN2. Suns are at 2 o'clock now. They moved the game an hour as they'll play the Pistons, and you'll be able to hear that on the mothership, Arizona Sports 98.7, and on 3 TV in Tarleton State and Grand Canyon on Fox 10 Extra. So those games are coming up. Now, football-wise, the games are going to be Saturday. So the game times for the NFL on Saturday are as follows: 2:30 Texans and Chiefs, and then Commanders and Lions at 6. So the window is 2:30 and 6, which is good to know, right? And then on Sunday, 1 o'clock, and then 4:30.
Ravens, Bills.
Eagles, Ravens, Bills. So that 1 to 4:30 is kind of more what you're used to if you're from the East Coast. You're used to the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock game. So that kind of puts things in perspective. So it'll be, of course, 2-hour time difference, 3 o'clock on the East Coast and 6:30 for the Sunday night game.
If you were to see an upset out of all of those, Rock, those 4 games,
what do you consider an upset?
Spread-wise?
Spread-wise or just win?
I think just overall outright win. The biggest one, what I would think might be would be the Commanders over the Lions. Might be the biggest one.
Yeah, the biggest one would be Texans, clearly.
Yeah,
if the Texans could beat the defending champions and the team that's in a dynasty, yes. The Lions could go down.
Boy,
they just unfortunately they've had that cloud over that city for so many years, just like the Cardinals have the cloud over this city. So the Commanders, and who knows, Jaden Daniels, they have trouble stopping these mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That being the Lions, you could give that an edge. But I think if you look at those 4 games, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens beat the Bills.
Yeah, I
think you could even see the Rams beating the Eagles.
Sure,
but Commanders, Lions, Texans, Chiefs. To answer your question, clearly Texans.
Yeah, to prevent the Chiefs from moving on. But the Chiefs, the one thing about the Chiefs, we talked about a little earlier, just how they've struggled with their offense the entire year. Or they've struggled,
but they find ways to win.
They have.
That's what makes them so good.
Yeah, and I think that's especially coming off the bye. Maybe they've satisfied, they figured out where their struggles were offensively. A lot of times, just personnel. Sometimes you just don't have the guys, you get by with it. But anytime you have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, this offensive line, the running game has been solid. you just kind of sit there and go, those are the Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey to win a game, a close game, seem to be the common denominator in these close games for the Chiefs.
So the last time these two teams played was Week 16. Kansas City won at home, 27-19. The Chiefs starters have not played a meaningful snap of football since their win on Christmas against the Steelers.
Right.
That's a long
Almost
time.
4 weeks. You stop and think about it. And but
I mean, those veterans need that rest. I get it, but when does it get to the point where it's too much?
Yeah, and you think about the last game they played against Denver. Denver had to win it and pretty much blew them out.
They didn't play anybody.
No, they didn't. But again, I think that Andy Reid has set this team up to where this leadership group and these guys know what it takes to not get complacent. They're veterans enough to not, they might be a little rusty. They may not come out of the chute, but you get in about that second and third quarter. That's when we've seen in the playoffs in the past where the Chiefs really start to turn it on. The only time I can think of where that's backfired, I'll go way back to when Mike Shanahan was coaching the Broncos, and they were 14-2, and he rested his guys, and that's when I believe Elway was still quarterback. He rested his guys a week before, so they had 2 weeks before they were to play their very first game. And I believe Mark Brunell was a quarterback, and I think Jacksonville came into Denver. Jacksonville upset a heavily favored Denver Broncos team that Mike Shanahan, and to your point, Rock, those guys had rested almost a good 3.5 weeks before they played any meaningful football. Jacksonville had won the wild card. They come into Denver, and it's a close game, but they beat the Denver Broncos. Mike Shanahan said, I will never, ever rest my guys. We're going to play it out, and we're going to play it strong throughout the rest of the season. The following year, sure enough, he plays it out. He plays his guys rest of the year, and that's when they finally won their first Super Bowl under the tutelage of John Elway. They went back-to-back. But he said that was the biggest lesson I learned as a head coach. I can't give those guys that much time. So you just wonder if you learn the way you approach it, practices or whatever. So we'll just see if that effect with Texas coming off a game where they're in sync and playing pretty good football. At least in the second half, they play pretty good football.
Yeah, we only have a few more days of our Twin Peaks fantastic tailgating sweepstakes, and it's probably the biggest promotion we've done in 20-plus years that Manuch and I have been doing this. We teamed up with Twin Peaks, of course, and the 5 locations, Blue Moon, Coors Light, and all you have to do is text Peaks to 59925. You can only do it once a day, and this grand prize is a Traeger grill, a Blackstone griddle, a pizza oven, a cornhole set, a portable beer pong table, a projector with an inflatable screen, a cooler full of Cocoa 5, a $250 Twin Peaks gift card, and some other goodies from Coors Light, Blue Moon, and yours truly, Roc and Manuch.
2 minutes.
All you have to do is text Peaks to 59925. Standard message and data rates apply. And we encourage you to watch all this NFL action that we're talking about at any of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks locations. So it is our biggest promotion, and we'll be coming out with a couple new ones here in the next few weeks as we gear up for the big game at Weekapaw Resort and Casino. So we encourage you to go to our website, rockandmanuch.com, check that all out, as well as all our promotions, because we're doing some pretty cool stuff. And we're really excited to be here on ESPN 620 now, and we've teamed up with them, and we're doing a bunch of fun stuff. We'll be out at DraftKings on Monday. We'll be back there for the Open. We're going to be at Putting World on Wednesday. By the way, Putting World, it's over there at the Promenade.
Yes.
They're doing something pretty cool. We all know it's hard to get in and out of the Open. Yes. And even Uber is tough. Mm-hmm. Well, what you need to do is they're running a free shuttle all week long from Putting World. So that Promenade, you get all that parking. So you can Uber there, which they won't surge because you're not going into the Phoenix Open. And you could probably park there or basically just Uber to Putting World, get in the Putting World shuttle, drops you off right at the front door, and then get on it at the end and go back. So if you're looking for plans there, that information's up on our website too. All right, Jax is next. He's got his 2024 Flashback Friday Rewind. You're listening to ESPN 620 and 98.7 HD2, and we're streaming live at ArizonaSports.com.
Make Mike's hot now. Jax, feel free to just verbally cue him up whenever you're ready.
The worst, and in his mind, the funniest moments from this week's shows.
Jimmy B, shut up, sucker.
This is Jack's Rewind, exclusively on ESPN 620.
All right, this is a fun segment we like to do every Friday, but this one's going to be a little bit different because we're new here on ESPN 620. For the most part, we've been doing all right. We haven't made too many mistakes. Connor's going to make the rewind. You know, last Friday he was doing so great, and then you had left, Manuch, and our last segment of the day, he decided to play the open of the show
at the end of the show.
Yeah. So that would have made
hour Manuch.
Yeah, that would have made our rewind. But let's let Jax take over. This is his baby.
All right, so we've got 6 clips, 2 honorable mention, and a top 4. Spoiler alert, a lot of Jimmy B, because Jimmy B had a hell of a 2024.
Yeah, he did.
So let's start in honorable mention.
It's all going to get better.
We got to start out. It's Roc, Manuch, and Jimmy B, so we got to start out with a Roc clip. Here's the good old famous Roc.
There is a possibility that this could happen, and it could, because right now, according to ESPN, there is that possibility, a loophole, that for Miami to attach a minimum deal along with Butler's contract,
God, that makes me so mad. My parents are so proud.
We got you covered, Rock. We got you. Veteran minimum. We got you.
It's a classic. And then the second honorable mention, anytime you get a professional UFC light heavyweight champion, Rampage Jackson, and he has a special iconic moment. You heard it in the open, but we're going to replay it for you. Quentin Jackson telling Jimmy B, "Shut up, sucker."
As we let you go, give us a Mr. T call out. Or
Shut up, fool.
Can you just say, Jimmy B, shut up, fool?
Jimmy B, shut up, sucker.
Hey, I didn't use no.
No, that's all right, man. That was directed at me, and I loved it.
All
That's Jimmy B.
He was like apologizing. Hey, I just messing with you, Jimmy B.
That was a great interview.
That was fun with him. Yeah.
Number 4. Now this one's some of these are a little long, but it's because it's just so funny. It goes up to like 1 minute or 2 minutes. But this one, Jimmy B went to the wrong Twin Peaks.
Oh, jeez.
With Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
I know Jimmy B today can't seem to get the clown car to Glendale. He does drive a clown car. And he's probably listening to us right now because, when you get older, you make mistakes. He made a pretty big mistake. If you're at Camelback Twin Peaks today at lunch, you may have saw him there. He thought our show was there. But we are in Glendale. We are at the Twin Peaks in Glendale. Roc and Manuch with you till 4 o'clock. Jimmy, if you're listening, just turn around and go back to Sun City. I mean, we're
close to Sun City now.
Oh, yeah, he's close to
right
Sun Lakes. I always get that wrong.
Yeah.
Sun Lakes.
Same difference, Rock. Kind of the same thing.
It's like, all right, if you can't seem to read the lineup, the playbook, do the live reads, and you still F up like you did?
Is there some kind of a fine for me telling him yesterday, like 95 times we were at the Glendale Twin Peaks, which is actually on the Wednesday lineup. It says Glendale Twin Peaks.
We should air our laundry on the radio, but 602 260
9191. Yeah.
Call us and tell us what you think. We don't have to bring you on the air. Just tell Bannon what we should do to discipline Jimmy B for not going to the right Twin Peaks today. I mean, seriously, he needs to be disciplined.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that should be for a 90-year-old, but there shouldn't be some penance. There's no penance here. Our number 3, Jimmy B, has made it in the clown car. He got to Twin Peaks, Glendale, and we're happy to see you here.
Glad you made it safely there.
Yeah, I mean, and just out of curiosity, did you do the show yesterday?
I did.
Okay. Did you happen to look at the lineup today?
I did.
Okay. Did you do any prep for the show today?
I did.
Okay.
Like always.
Did you go to where were you supposed to be? Where was the job site today?
It was in Glendale.
Okay. Where did you happen to go?
Camelback.
That's next week? Are you looking ahead? You trying to be proactive?
What happened, Jimmy?
Next week's show ready?
Were you on the beaches of Bermuda when you were going through everything?
I'm just going to tell you guys, I must have had a serious senior moment.
We love you, Jimmy.
I've never done that before. You guys,
I know.
We've worked together a long time.
That's why we're having fun with you.
I don't blame you. By
so
the way,
did you happen to listen? Good. Were you listening by any chance?
I will look good in the Twin Peaks outfit.
I'm glad he thought he'd look good in the
So again, if you're just popping in, we're doing our rewind from last year, having a little fun. Of course, we're another station now. We're here on ESPN 620, so we appreciate our old partners for allowing us to play that. So we're just making sure that you know that. So.
Number 3, we had a discussion about Sun Lakes again in the whole debate. It didn't make the top 5, the debate between Sun City and Sun Lakes. However, this conversation about how Jimmy B goes to the golf course did. Here's number 3.
My dad described, he was a member at Arizona Touchdown for many years. He called it Executive Plus, is what he called.
Did he really?
Yeah,
that's all you need to say.
He said, Dad, how was he? Goes,
from Mr. Manucci?
Yeah.
God rest his soul?
Yes.
He knows.
I bought his golf cart.
Absolutely. You don't have your own golf cart, do you, out there?
No.
How do you not?
I ride my bike.
You with your golf cart?
Yeah. I just put them on my shoulder and take off.
You are so full of you know what.
I am not.
You really ride your bike?
Yes, I can.
A little Huffy with a little basket on it? Look at that.
It's across the back. I still have training wheels on it.
Thinking about both you and Jimmy B, you basically you add a log, you add gas to the fire. Like Jimmy B right there. Oh, I had training wheels. I'm like, dude, he doesn't even defend.
He doesn't ride his bike. He drives his car. Now, you see a lot of those bikes out there, but I've never seen anybody out there Sun Lakes
with their golf clubs on their back.
Exactly right. Yeah, he'd be the first.
So number 2, Jimmy B, and he hasn't done this recently, but we had the debate a couple months ago about the whole pullover and how you have to wear a shirt underneath it, according to Roc and Manuch. Myself and Jimmy B like to wear a pullover with not a shirt underneath it. But sometimes Jimmy B will have the zipper all the way down, seeing his chain. He wears his chain every day. It's thin, and Roc makes fun of him for it until, number 2, you heard the story behind the chain.
And B, that I was wearing, and I'm going to break news to you now. This chain was given to me by my mom long ago, and I wear it in homage to my mother.
Oh, don't you feel like an ass?
I do feel like an ass.
Oh, man.
All right. No, I'm sorry.
Why else would he wear it, Rock? I mean,
very true.
I mean, why else would he wear it?
That's why he pulls the zipper down in respect to his mother. All right, Rob.
And he doesn't want to. He wants to make sure that he shows his chest
Just
so that you can see the necklace.
He doesn't want to wear a shirt underneath to block it either.
All right, so let's note this at 1:54 on the 15th.
Jeez.
I will never ever comment on the very small rope chain. But that was back in then. Size didn't matter back then.
It was. That's
yeah.
right.
What more matters now?
I did feel so bad about that. I mean, I'm ripping him about wearing no undershirt under a pullover, which is it's embarrassing that anybody wears a pullover, you have a T-shirt underneath it, right?
Yes.
You don't wear it without, but he doesn't wear it, so you see his chain. I don't know, his mom passed away many years ago and gave him that chain. And
But Rock,
total idiot.
you busted him several times in that chain. That was the first time that story ever popped up.
Yeah, he could have at least after the first time.
We
said,
would
hey,
think he would have. So I don't know. I mean,
he likes the attention.
Yeah.
And at number 1, again, the guy that's been on the top 5 the entire time, Jimmy B. He's got plenty of stops, plenty of career things he's had. You may not have known this until we all knew with this clip about Jimmy B being a DJ at a strip club.
A long time ago, I did work.
Were you the MC, the DJ?
I was the DJ.
So what would so why don't
It's
you
a long
introduce
time ago.
a couple girls right now? Do you remember some of their names?
Hey,
Because
Jasmine.
they're always like Violet Blue or
Amber.
Is this how
Yeah.
you started your play-by-play career?
Is this what launched your career
It was close.
in high school or college?
Hey, Amber. I'm Amber. Jasmine, can you please just fire up some rock music there?
Rock
Just-
music?
Yeah.
You don't come out to rock music.
Something funky. Something that's funky.
That'll get you into your
Yeah,
place.
yes.
It'll take you back to
Yeah, that'll-
1950.
Well, it wasn't that long ago, but
Oh, whoa.
Well, it wasn't that long
How
ago.
far back did you work? I mean, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Answer this.
Yeah.
Did you work at a gentleman's club as the DJ before you got into sports broadcasting?
No.
Or during?
During.
Wow. I knew the business was tough to get into. This was not on your resume when you
Well, of course-
applied for this job.
Well, of course not.
Because
but-
that would have totally put up a bunch of red flags.
Here we go now. So if let's just say it's Amber, okay? Amber's coming up on stage. And so the tune is
Make sure, hey, dude, I know we have like a 10-second delay.
Yes.
Just be
Oh,
careful whatever
I'll
you're
be
going to
good.
say.
I'll be good.
All right.
I'll be good. So don't worry about that.
No,
So-
really?
Yeah.
We're already down this freaking rabbit hole again.
So if she was coming up on stage, I would get a couple of her statistics, and I won't do that now,
Yeah,
and
good.
pass them along to the crowd. And then it might be something like, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one, the only, the blonde bombshell from Waco, Texas. Here is Amber.
Oh, my goodness. I apologize to Phoenix and anyone that's listening or on the stream or watching this on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. Wow.
That was awesome, Jimmy. Any thoughts about coming out of retirement?
No, I'm not doing that.
I know. I think the candy store's hiring. They need
little side hustle. for
there you
Jimmy.
have it. A little rewind from nice job, Jax. Yeah, the thing is, it's so funny because when we came over here to ESPN 620, part of Arizona Sports and KTAR News. Everybody at KTAR knows Jimmy B because Jimmy B was doing news reports and filling in and doing some stuff for the station for a long time while he was doing stuff with us at our old station. So it's funny how they all love Jimmy B here at Bonneville. And I don't think they all knew, because I can promise you, if they knew that he had to take a break from his sportscasting, all those different markets he worked, his national gigs and all that, and he worked at a gentleman's store, a gentleman's place,
Club,
I don't think that he would have gotten the job.
No wonder he moved around so many times. They found out the station. I found out what's your side hustle.
He's got such deep voice.
Yeah,
the pipes. He's got the pipes, so you don't need to see him. He's probably in that little booth up there. So anyway. That's our rewind. Thanks to Jax.
Nice
We try to
job,
do it
Jax.
every Friday.
Thanks.
We'll have some good stuff hopefully in the next few weeks. Connor, are you okay with all that? I mean, you're the new guy to the team here.
I must say, guys, that was some golden stuff there. I wish Jimmy B was here to defend himself, but it seems like Jimmy B is going to roll with the punches regardless.
Yeah, he's such an easy punching bag. It was Manuch forever, and then now Jimmy B's kind of taken over, so it's good stuff. So we appreciate
We
Jimmy
love him
B,
anyway.
Jimmy B, yeah. So, all right, Mark May's going to join us next. His old podcast partner, I should say, Lou Holtz, had some interesting words about Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes. If you're not familiar with the story, Lou Holtz and Ryan Day have kind of gone back and forth on some things between Ohio State and Notre Dame. And if you know Mark May, he can't stand the Buckeyes. And I'm curious who he's going to take in the national championship. Well, I'm not curious. I know who he's going to take, but I want to know why. That's next here on ESPN 620.
All right, Jax, coming to you here.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's bottom of the hour ESPN 620 Sports Update, sponsored by the big game at Weekapaw Casino and Resort on Sunday, February 9th. I'm Jackson Groff. The Phoenix Suns weathered a late rally from the Washington Wizards last night, winning 130-123, and are now back to 500 with a record of 20-20. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant combined for 60 points on 45% shooting from the field, including Devin Booker's 13 for 15 from the free throw line. The Suns will look to secure another road win tomorrow at 2 p.m. against the Detroit Pistons. Lock in your plans to join us for the big game on February 9th at Weekapaw Casino and Resort. Win cash with $25 square games, $100 prop bets, and the kickoff challenge. Best of all, it's free. We hope to see you there. Weekapaw Casino Resort, February 9th. I'm Jackson Groff.
Hey, sports fans, looking for the ultimate spot to catch the national championship on Monday, January 20th? Look no further than DraftKings Sportsbook at TPC Scottsdale, the area's best kept secret for sports entertainment. With 2,700 square feet of TV screens, you won't miss a single play. Enjoy an exceptional food and beverage menu and comfortable seating for all. This is where fans fuel their passion. Located on Scottsdale's premier golf course, DraftKings Sportsbook brings an electric 19th-hole experience to the links. It is the perfect place to unwind and catch all the action. Join Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B as they broadcast live before the game from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. You definitely don't want to miss this one. Get all the details at rocandmanuch.com. That's rocandmanuch.com. Gambling problem? Visit nextstep.az.gov. Text next step to 53342 or call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Must be 21 or older, physically present in AC. Eligibility restrictions apply.
Mark your calendars for Sunday, February 9th, because the only place you'll want to be is at Weekapaw Casino Resort. This year, we're not just watching the big game. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B are giving away cash. Yes, you heard it right. Get ready to win big with our amazing cash prizes just for watching the game. Here's how you can score cash. $25 squares game every quarter, $100 prop bets, and the kickoff challenge. Earn $1 for every yard on every kick return. Plus, a chance at our progressive jackpot that keeps growing with every
Now to talk everything football is two-time Super Bowl champion, a member of the famed Washington Redskins Hogs offensive line,
Mics are hot.
first-round pick, earned All-American honors at Pitt, and a member of the College Football Hall of Fame, football analyst and commentator Mark May, now on ESPN 620.
Mark May now on the right Toyota guest line. How we doing there, Mark? Happy Friday to you.
I'm hanging in there. How about that? Is Manuch here this week?
I'm here, big fella.
Yes.
I was really hurt last week when they told me that you didn't want to talk to me.
Well, I had this event that I had to go to. I'd get to scoot out of here just a segment early. Rock was kind enough to let me scoot out of here. I apologize. It'll never happen again. How's that?
But how's that? And that's not good enough. I'm a guy that really backs you and backs Kansas State, and this is how you do me.
I'm not bad. It'll never happen again. Sometimes, and the old saying is, keep those flames going at home. You got to do what you got to do at home.
All right, Mark, I want to read something from an Twitter page, a gentleman by the name of Lou Holtz. If Notre Dame doesn't win, it's because we want to preserve Ryan Day's job. Come on. Come on. You and Lou now teaming up against the Buckeyes?
Hey, how about this? You know what's epic? Lou just turned 88 last week. That's one thing. And the best thing about this for Lou is when we talk, it's like, you know what? After Notre Dame wins and the camera comes to you, please do this for me. This is all I ask. All you have to say is, hey, Ryan Day, I'm Lou Holtz, and I'm freaking right here. Bottom line.
The other shot.
Ryan Day coming out saying, where's Lou Holtz? Where's Lou Holtz? After they beat Notre Dame by 3 last year, and they got lucky in that game to win. He comes out screaming, where's Lou Holtz? It's like, you know what? Payback can be tough sometimes.
It just the rhetoric coming from Lou Holtz, you go, wow. I mean, this thing is deep. I mean, the shot he took across the bow that we're Notre Dame and you ain't.
That's
true.
Yeah. But the thing is, he is going to go now.
Beat Michigan before you start talking trash.
But Mark, I mean, the fact that he's going to go now, right? I mean, I know he's got a bad leg, but he's still going to show up. And, Ohio native, former, he coached under Woody Hayes. Oh, come on. You have nothing.
But he won a national championship, and the last coach to win a national championship in 1988 was Dr. Lou Holtz.
Yeah. All right. Where's Mark May on Monday? Where's he leaning? Who's going to win this game?
Let me tell you what. I'm putting all my eggs in one basket.
Uh-oh.
And it's in South Bend, Indiana. Oh. Jesus, baby. I just want Lou to go on there and say what I said before, because that will make my year. If I don't pick another winner the rest of the year and Notre Dame wins and Lou says that, that's it. That makes my entire year.
Is there anything that the Buckeye Nation could do to Mark May to get you off of this? I don't know what it is in regards to your hatred with the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Here's the thing, guys. I didn't start it. This happened way back like a decade plus ago when I picked Virginia Tech to beat them, and Virginia Tech beat them. And all of a sudden it's like, Mark May hates Notre Dame. He's the devil. We've got to get him out of here. Let's get him out of ESPN. We'll find a way to get him off the airways. It's like, wait a minute. I just picked a winner against you, and I was right. So if you're going to start this, I'm not getting off my horse. I'm getting right back on it. And guess what? I don't bow to anybody. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. But if I'm not wrong, I'm not bowing to anybody. And that's the way I've treated my life. So you know what, Buckeye fans? For the rest of my life, I'm rooting for the other team. I don't care. I don't care if you're playing a Division III school, which you'll probably schedule 2 or 3 of those in your next season or two. Because guess what? You don't want to play Oregon again because you beat them in the playoff. But Oregon had your number during the season the last 2 years.
They blew them out in the playoff. Come on, they
but the
blew
last
them
2 years
out.
they played them during the regular season. They got beat.
All right, can you make a case though that this team is pretty hot right now? They all 3 postseason games they've won double digits, 20 points, an average 20 points or more. You can't deny that they are playing really good football right now.
I can't deny that, but didn't we talk before the Texas game that Texas had issues in the red area? They've had issues all season long. And Quinn Ewers had issues turning the ball over in the red area, and they missed field goals in the red area. So what happens? They're going down to score to tie the game, and Quinn Ewers turns the ball over again, and it's run back for a touchdown. Ohio State goes up 2 scores. You've got to at least give it. If Arch Manning's in that situation, he's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to drop it down and run and gain a couple of yards, and it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that big of a double-digit loss. They may have a chance to win that football game, but that's what cost Texas the game. Yes, Ohio State is the best team money can buy, over $20 million in NIL money. Yes, they're starting to play their best football. They've got two great coordinators on offense and defense, and they're finally putting it together. But this is a team that I don't know if they're going to get one more win. One thing about Notre Dame, it's almost like they're the team of destiny. Once they lost to Northern Illinois, and they were so embarrassed nationally, the way this team went out and took care of business each and every week after that, Riley Leonard taking care of the football, running the football, the way he's running it on counters and powers and quarterback draws, this offensive line, they're missing a starter, but the way they stood up and played against Penn State, but you knew they weren't going to lose to Penn State because James Franklin doesn't beat top 5 teams. So that was a game that they knew they were going to come back and win it. They should not have come back and win, but they found a way to win. And this is a team that they just grind away. You've got to be impressed the way they grind away each and every game, and they're in it. Special teams, defense. They don't turn the ball over offensively, and they kill the clock and keep the ball away from you.
Yeah, a lot to be said about touchdown Jesus. We had Yogi Roth on yesterday, color analyst for the Big Ten, and talking about, to your point, Mark, winning the close games in the most inopportunistic ways. The interception right after giving the ball back, and then that field goal looks like it was starting right and hooked back in for the game-winning field goal. You know what, divine intervention, whatever you want to call it. I just call it good coaching, taking advantage of the opportunities they had to win these close games this year.
Yeah, and it's all up to Marcus Freeman, their head coach. The changes he made, the halftime changes that he made, and what he did on the field when they had to make changes in the game. And guess what? The corrections that they made in that football game, the adjustments that they made, you've got to tip your hat to Marcus Freeman. And the way he's got this team to buy in psychologically, you look at their roster. They don't have a 5-star. Ohio State has 14 5-star players. Notre Dame has none. And the way that he's been able to get this team to buy and to motivate themselves, that's why Notre Dame 3 weeks ago gave him a big-time extension to stay at Notre Dame, because all those rumors were starting to come up that he may go to the Bears or get a Bears interview or go someplace else. They gave him a long-term extension. The reason why is because he's a class guy. He's done it the right way, and he's brought this team back this year, and he's done a terrific job for being a first-time head coach at Notre Dame.
Mark, when Brian Kelly left to go to LSU and Freeman took over, were the cupboards bare per se? Because this team, Notre Dame, looks so much more faster than they did under Brian Kelly. They look more physical than Brian Kelly. What was the difference, or was there some elements of that when Freeman took over?
There was some of that there, but the thing is, Marcus Freeman did a terrific job at not only recruiting but developing. You look at Notre Dame; it's tough to get in there. The academic standards are very high, so he only has a small pool to go to. Yes, they have NIL money, but they're not out there like spending it all over like a lot of schools are spending a couple of $1 million on quarterbacks. They're not doing that. They're doing it the right way, the old-fashioned way, but they're getting it done. They've got lots of supporters across this country. We all know that, and across this planet. They've got people that are donating to the university, but they don't have to go out in the NIL because that's Notre Dame. A lot of kids growing up
1 minute
Irish because that's in their DNA and that's what they want to do. And what Marcus Freeman's been able to do is to cultivate those young players to come to Notre Dame, those 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, and developing those players into 5-star players, into NFL potential draft picks.
All right, let's get it on record. Score of the game.
Taking Notre Dame, 28-27.
Ooh, close game.
Wow. Oh, big stretch there. All right. It doesn't matter. Win's a win.
They're a 9-point dog. What do you expect?
All right. Well, you may be getting a call on Tuesday, so have that phone close by there, Mark.
Hey, I'm going with Coach Holtz, Dr. Lou. I'm going with Notre Dame and Touchdown Jesus and Marcus Freeman and Riley Leonard and his football team. You know, I just hope it's a close game. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
If Ohio State wins the game and they win by 3 points or 4 points or whatever, that's great as long as it's close so we can watch 4 full quarters. But if it's one of those games like when we get to the championship games that it's a blowout and, you know, at halftime you're channel surfing for something else, I really don't want that to happen. It's a Monday night. It's the only game in town, and hopefully it's a close game.
Yeah, Mark, you go back the last decade, Buckeyes were the first to win it, 10 years ago, a decade ago, but 7 out of the 10 were all blowouts. So let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope that's not the case, the championship. So, all right, buddy, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Thank you, Mark.
You betcha. After the Fighting Irish win, see you then.
See you, Mark May joining us. Hey, interesting, Marshall University today was fined $100,000 because they opted out of the Independence Bowl. They were set to play in the Independence Bowl, but because of the transfer portal, they lost 36 players, more than half of the players on their scholarship, and they ended up getting out, and then Thank goodness Louisiana Tech was able to step up and play Army. Now, they lost by like 20-something. I think it was 21. But that's not right. And the NCAA's got to figure out if this transfer portal is going to be the way it is, especially the time frame when you can be in it, when you can't be in it. If it's going to start affecting bowl games like that, that's clearly going to be a problem.
Well, what happened is their head coach left.
Yeah.
So they all just went in the portal. So you're right, Rock. They've got to make it sure, okay, you cannot enter the portal until whatever. But for these guys, if they want to transfer to a new school at semester and be viable for the semester, there's got to be a mechanism for these coaches to bring these guys, get them committed. So when January 15th or 18th comes on, they can be on campus. So, yeah, you're right. Something's got to be worked out. But as soon as that head coach left, that team abandoned everybody.
36
guys. Yeah.
Hey, we're out here at Wright Toyota, right on the corner, right on the price, right on the selection. Wright Toyota in Scottsdale and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. They have the right deal for everyone. Right now, you can check out their inventory of pre-owned certified vehicles under $15,000. All you got to do is go to wrighttoyota.com. Coming up, we'll tell you what's on tap for the weekend. Have our Learner in Row one call as you listen to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620 and on FM at 98.7 HD2.
Koulibaly gets to the dotted line, puts up the shot that doesn't go, but he follows his own miss and banks it home. And there's his first career double-double, TK. 16 points, 10 rebounds for Ryan Dunn.
Ryan Dunn with a great game yesterday. He's been coming around, doing a great job. That was one of the big plays, or just his play yesterday was big. And then, of course, Booker with that big three-pointer late from Tyus Jones, which made it 123-117 as the Phoenix Suns went on to win against Washington. They had a big, big lead. They almost gave it away. They're going to go at it tomorrow at 2 o'clock. You'll be able to hear it on the mothership, the big Arizona Sports, that is, 98.7, and on TV on AZ Family 3 TV. So that's tomorrow. But that's our one call. That's all. Interact, need to check. Make one call. 602-977-1900, and always at learnerandrow.com. Here's what's on tap. As I just mentioned, you have the Suns and Pistons tomorrow at 2. You got 2 college games at noon. Arizona State's at Cincinnati. You can hear that right here on ESPN 620. Arizona and Texas Tech, that's on ESPN 2. Both those games at noon. And then later, Grand Canyon will host Tarleton State. That's on Fox 10. That is what is on tap, not to mention 2:30 and 6 o'clock NFL playoffs, and then 1 and 4:30 on Sunday.
Leads to our State Farm Roofing. It's your call question today. Talking about the playoffs. State Farm Roofing, the #1 preferred roofer in Arizona, proudly serving the Arizona residential and commercial markets for over a decade. For a free quote, repair or installation, head to state48roofing.com. You can follow them on social media by searching hashtag #SexyRoofStatus. You can go to Roc and Manuch on Twitter to vote for this one. What playoff game would you choose if you could only watch one of them? Which playoff game would you choose if you could only watch one of them? Would it be Texans at Chiefs, Commanders at the Lions, Rams at Rocks Eagles, or the Ravens at the Bills? So far, currently Texans at Chiefs is 9.1%. Commanders at Lions in second place at 18.2%. Rams and Eagles 9.1%. And the leader, Ravens at the Bills, 63.6%. That being
Shocker.
the last game of the weekend.
Hey, it was pretty cool yesterday. The lineup for the Fire Aid concert was announced, and it is stacked. Green Day, Jelly Roll, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Pink, Stevie Nicks, Sting, for some reason, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews and John Mayer will perform for the first time. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Rod Stewart, Joni Mitchell. This thing, Gracie Abrams, is going to be absolutely huge. It's going to be on January 30th. So they're going to do everything they can to raise a bunch of money for those in California.
Yeah, it's great to see. You think of, we can go back to what Farm Aid. When you think of Farm Aid, Live Aid, Farm Aid, I mean, all those musicians that have stepped up, with the crisis that have been, the Live Aid, you think of that going over in Africa, Farm Aid, what was going on here, and then this now in reference to the fires. And, boy, you watch so much of that day in and day out, and just the destruction and the people. And, Mother Nature doesn't care how much money you make or who you are or what you are. It has affected everybody. So many people over there in that Southern California area. And heads up, there's more Santa Ana winds coming in next week. So hopefully a lot of the hot spots and fires have been doused by that time, and so that we don't see any more fires flare up over there.
The WM Open, the field continues to grow. Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Billy Horschel have all committed to the People's Open, which is just coming up right around the corner. If you're driving around North Scottsdale, you've seen it. It's all ready to go. We're broadcasting across the street at Wright Toyota. But, you got 15-time PGA Tour winner Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, a 3-time major champion, the world number 5. Billy Horschel's been playing some pretty good golf. So this thing is starting to come together as it always does, always a big field. So get ready. WM Open, a little bit different this year. We'll catch up with some of the guys here over the next 2 weeks as, the digital tickets, the no general admission tickets for Saturday. So they're doing some cool things that I think are going to make a difference in crowd control. And so they don't have a situation like they had last year, but I think it's going to be great. The forecast right now, the weather is just absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm. It is. And long-range forecast is unseasonably dry, as it has been. We've got, 4 months? It seemed almost 4 months without any rain. In the long-range forecast calls for like mid-60s to dry. It's supposed to be unusually drier this year because of El Nino versus El Niña.
Now, I will tell you, Monday and Tuesday will be free once again. So you could go to the tournament, watch some of the practice rounds. It's a great opportunity to get autographs, bring the kids, and enjoy it. And they're going to continue to do a bunch of charity things as well on 16 and raise a bunch of money for a bunch of nonprofits. So if you're looking to get out there on Monday or Tuesday, go ahead and do that. There's some pro-ams going. There's that Special Olympics putting challenge that they do on Monday. So there's just a ton of cool stuff that goes on Monday and Tuesday. So if you were looking to get out there at the People's Open, you can take advantage of
One
that.
thing about going out there on Tuesdays, what I always enjoyed is watching these guys practice, even going over to the driving range and watching these guys hit balls. That just enamored me for some reason, for them to pull out the different club selections and just how accurate they are. And then just to see that if it's 5 yards right or 5 yards left, to see them get upset when they're practicing. It's like,
I get it.
It's their goal is everything's spot on.
I had a golf lesson yesterday.
How'd that go?
I pulled something in my rib, so I'm hurting today. You got me doing
golf swing.
He's trying to help me out, and he's working on that swing, trying to get rid of the over the top. And I had a really bad weekend last weekend. I just struggled. I mean, I was probably 10 strokes over what I normally hit, and I lost a lot of balls in the water and just really struggled. So I'm like, I gotta stop. So,
do you stretch out, Rock, before you do any of that kind of stuff?
No.
Like stretch, turn, twist, get yourself loose so the muscles don't go, what the hell?
Swing the club a little bit. No, I need to kind of get into a routine there.
Is Jordan? I saw you mentioned Jordan Spieth will be here. I know he had just started playing about a couple weeks ago. Had he taken time off, or had he been injured? Because they were talking earlier about how Jordan Spieth of the Jordan Spieth we saw 5-6 years ago, that he wanted to somewhat retool his game.
Well, he did that a couple years ago. He changed his swing completely.
Okay, but I mean, even now they see him coming back. So I didn't know if it was something to where. I mean, I love watching Jordan Spieth play. I mean, what he did 7, 8, 9 years ago is phenomenal. His first couple of years on the tour.
I think a lot of us thought, he's a 3-time major champion. You thought he was going to be the guy. He was going to be
for a long
the next guy.
For a long time.
I got to tell you that stuff on Tuesday, what's the TGL or whatever it is?
Yeah, the Tiger Woods Golf League.
Can't get into it.
I watched like 10 minutes of it.
I think the first week everybody was like, "Hey, this is cool." I think now it's kind of like going to I don't know, Topgolf and just sitting there watching the screen.
Yeah, I was going to say the main objective of it was that you could be able to hear what the golfers want to say, maybe a little crap talk between the two, but then you realize these golfers don't talk.
No.
It's tough for them when they're golfing and focusing on, especially a prize and money involved, for them to talk on top of that when they're not used to it.
And the one guy that scolded his sand shot, I mean, I forget
Kevin
who it was.
Kisner.
Kevin Kisner and Tiger losing. Yeah, I watched like 10, 15 minutes of it. I'm going, it's just, to me, it just didn't seem the same. I know they hit into the screen, the chipping, the putting, and the way they can make the greens do the different undulations or what have you. I don't know. I wish it the best of luck. I'd like to know what the numbers were as far as viewership was.
2 minutes. One last thing to end the week, and this is great news. Dick Vitale is returning to the air for the first time since 2023. The Hall of Famer he's going to call Duke Wake Forest on January 25th. He's 85. He has battled 4 different types of cancer in 3.5 years. Most recently, he underwent surgery last summer. And here he is. He announced January 8th that he's cancer-free. And like I said, he hasn't called a game since the national championship, San Diego State, UConn. So look forward to it's going to be a huge
awesome
ratings game, I'm sure.
Great to hear, baby. See him back out there. I guess it was a throat cancer.
Yep.
And he couldn't talk. He was unable to talk for like a month because of the radiation. He had like 85 radiation therapy sessions over the last 3 months.
He's a Notre Dame fan too. Just want to add that.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
1 minute.
Got Dickie V, Lou Holtz.
Lou is on a roll, man.
Join us Monday, TPC, Scottsdale, DraftKings, TPC Scottsdale will be there broadcasting from 1 to 4. If you can't make it, at least tune in. We'll be giving away a bunch of stuff, gift cards for the national championship. So we're looking forward to that. So hopefully you can come out and have some fun with us. We'll go out a couple live hits from Atlanta, so we'll get out there. We'll have the usual suspects. Frank Sanders will join us as well. Get his pick in the game, as well as we'll open the phones, and we're gonna do a contest where you get to pick. And if you get closest to the score of the game, you're gonna win a big prize from DraftKings at TPC Scottsdale. For Jax, for CC, Connor, and Manuch, and Jimmy B, I'm Rock, and for our friends here at Right Toyota, have a great weekend. We'll see you back here 1 o'clock at DraftKings.